Naruto used the hydrogen style to achieve nuclear peace in the ninja world. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101. The Chunin examination is over. 3 days later, the Chunin exams went on as scheduled. The venue was still the same as Ikki's memory, and the surrounding stands were already crowded. In Konoha, the Chunin exams were a big event. Not only did the ninjas from the major families appear here, but there were also many ordinary villagers who were watching. Although it was a war period, the whole venue was very lively. There are only 7 groups of candidates in total, so, Ikki muttered while sitting in the preparation seat. There are only 7 groups of candidates, and Konoha accounts for 4 of them. Tsunagakure missed 2 groups, and the spinning girl Yakira was also among them. Their luck was really bad. The Iwagakure and Kumogakure were completely wiped out, and the other candidates didn't even pass the written test, and had already packed up and went home. Only the group of Meitarumi from Kurigakure advanced, and Ikki felt that, even if she hadn't advanced, Meitarumi probably wouldn't have been able to escape. The ninjas from other small ninja villages were all Danzo's subordinates, and were wiped out by Team 7. But then again, it was strange that Danzo didn't bother him after suffering such a big loss. Ikki had even prepared for this for a long time. First group. Konoha, Hatake Kakashi, yes. Kurigakure, Senmi Raiwaya. Both candidates enter the examination room. With cheers, Kakashi stood up, and for a moment he was the focus of everyone's attention. Look over there. Lord Whitefang's child is right there. He's so young. As expected of Lord Whitefang's son, he's going to be promoted to Chunin at this age. Keep it up. Kakashi, or rather Whitefang, is extremely popular. This makes Ikki sigh a little. Whitefang once chose to commit suicide to protect Kakashi under the scolding of the villagers. Now Whitefang, again for Kakashi, but under his encouragement, support, and teaching, has stood up. Kumi explained everything. She is no longer a root ninja, and will belong to the Anbu in the future, and will continue to be responsible for Whitefang. The attack on Yakira was just a misunderstanding. It was a trap. But what Whitefang got from it, Ikki didn't know. But no matter what, once he gets up, it's trouble. In the future, when he is in Konoha, he can go to Whitefang for small matters, and to Kushina for big matters. Just don't be too arrogant. Minato, what about me? Ikki, the soy sauce is gone please. Then I'll go. Kakashi said listlessly with his dead fish eyes. Come on. Ikki encouraged perfunctorily. It's not that Team 7 likes to show off. The key is that this opponent is not difficult. They are the men who survived Kushina's hands. Very powerful. As Kakashi came on the court, the cheers from all sides became louder. This made Obito a little unhappy, but at the same time he was also looking forward to it. Very. I hope my opponent can be stronger, and then I can deal with him faster than Kakashi. Then everyone will know that I'm stronger than Kakashi. Obito raised his arms, his eyes excited. As expected, Kakashi finished quickly. The mist-hidden ninja seemed to have some misunderstandings about the Hatake clan. Instead of keeping a distance, he got into a close fight. Kakashi only made 2 moves, one to knock away the mist-hidden youth's kune, and the other to land on his neck. It was a life hidden full of whimpering. The cheers on the field suddenly reached another level. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title, you can try searching for the author. Maybe he just changed his name. But Yingshu looked everywhere, but couldn't find Whitefang. After 2 more matches, it was finally Obito's turn. His opponent was also from Konoha. At first, Ikki thought that this was another macro strike against the Uchiha clan, until he saw clearly that Obito's opponent was Hyuga Mihiro, a young man from a clan that claimed to be the strongest in Konoha. Sharingan vs Byakugan. This was really eye-catching. Hyuga. Ikki murmured. So far, he had never fought with a member of the Hyuga clan. Not only him, but also Team 7. Ikki felt it necessary to remind Obito to keep a distance and use ninjutsu against the enemy. But before he could say anything, Obito had already high-fived Kakashi and rushed to the ring. Seeing his excited look, Ikki was relieved. The current Obito is much stronger than the Obito in the original time and space. The battle began. The child from the Hyuga clan threw a set of soft fists with great force, and his speed and strength were both excellent. But Obito was determined to show off today. Not only did he not choose to use his best fire escape, but he picked up a kunai and played close combat with the Hyuga. This idiot. Kakashi cursed secretly, but Iki saw the clue. Obito is a very cowardly guy. When the three of them merged, he was willing to rush to the front, whether to get beaten or to pretend. Kakashi would provide support, and on top of that there was an all-attribute ninja from the Senju clan to cover his firepower. But when he was alone, Obito was not as stupid as he looked. Well, Obito doesn't look stupid, so he can gain a little fanboy, Shisu. Obito moved as fiercely as a tiger, seemingly with great force, but he didn't hit anyone. But in fact, he didn't suffer any loss. Then, the dynamic vision of the Sharingan began to show its power. Obito suddenly put away his kunai, then spread his hands, and said something. Iki guessed that it should be something like I have seen through your attack. The Hyuga youth was indeed angered, and the frequency of his attacks went up a level. But his soft fist was obviously not up to paragraph. After fighting for a while, there were only a few sets of changes. This was fatal in front of an Uchiha clan member who had opened his eyes. Even though this Uchiha wasn't that smart. At the end of the battle, the young Hyuga clan member was exhausted. Although it took Obito longer, he also won a lot of applause. Obito was a little nervous after leaving the field. Damn, that was a close call. But Kakashi probably didn't see it. No. Iki, who was about to give Obito a thumbs up. A few more games passed. Finally, it was Iki's turn. His opponent was also a ninja from Konoha, who did not belong to any family. He was a civilian ninja, a tall and thin man. He missed Yikang and Meitarumi. Standing on the field, Iki could obviously feel the enthusiasm of the audience and retreated. That's not bad. Yingshu raised his eyebrows. It's always good to keep a low profile. Then, he raised his fist towards the opponent who rushed over. The power of the thousand hands activated. Bang. Ouch, victory. Konoha, Yingshu. Under the silent attention of the audience, Yingshu defeated his opponent, smashed a big hole in the ground, and finally won the victory. Being a civilian ninja is not bad. Warm reminder, the problem of logged-in users saving bookshelves across devices has been corrected. If it still cannot be saved, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the cookies of the browser, and then log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. Chapter 102, Leu. Iki opened his eyes, and the scenes of the Chunin exam seemed to have just happened. It was pitch black all around, with only a faint moonlight coming through the cave entrance. They were now hiding in a cave, avoiding pursuit from the enemy. Yes, it had been a week since the Chunin exam. Team 7, all Chunin, soon received a B-rank non-war mission. Investigate and support a reconnaissance team on the border of the Land of Fire, with a reward of 200,000 Ryo. Minato was not with them, and he hadn't even returned to Konoha yet. The normal configuration should be a Jonin leading the team, with 3 Genin forming a team. But all the members of Team 7 are Chunin, which is completely qualified on paper. But this is actually a nesting doll mission. Because that scouting team was originally carrying out an ordinary C-rank mission, to send a blacksmith from the Iron Kingdom back to the Iron Kingdom. But on the way back, they encountered an unknown attack. Then, it was the turn of Team 7. They came to the location, where the scouting team was, and followed the clues, to search all the way. Finally, in a corner of the forest on the border of the Land of Fire, they found their mission target, a pile of corpses whose identities were unclear, but 4 heads were missing. In addition, they also had other gains. For example, the cloud-hidden ninja ambushed here. This was the first time that Team 7 witnessed the cruelty of war. Obito almost vomited on the spot. The enemy was so powerful that they didn't know how many ambushes there were. As the captain, Iki made a prompt decision to retreat. He used a hydrogen escape technique to retreat, and fired a signal bomb at the same time. Iki didn't know whether the signal bomb could be seen by his colleagues in Konoha. His original intention was to scare the enemy, and the effect was achieved. Hydrogen escape technique plus signal bomb bought them more than 10 minutes. But at the same time, it also brought them another group of enemies, the demolition unit from Iwagakure. It was still the combination of Iwagakure plus Kumogakure. The strength of the enemy this time is far from what they could achieve in the Chunin exam. They can be a force to be reckoned with among their peers, even in the minors group, but they are still far from being able to fight on the battlefield. Therefore, Team 7 directly turned on the pulling mode. All members, fight and retreat. I won't fight when the enemy is tired, and I will retreat when the enemy retreats. This is the third day of their fighting and retreating, and the current battle record is 0 deaths and 5 kills, which is still a gain. Don't even bother to live. Suddenly, Obito, who was sleeping, didn't know what he dreamed of, and he roared with his eyes wide open, breathing rapidly, and the two Magatama in his eyes were spinning wildly. Yes, after seeing the tragic deaths of those Konoha ninjas, coupled with the hard training over the past year, it was natural for Obito to obtain the double Magatama. Iki silently handed over the water bottle. Obito was still panting, but he took it, and after 2 gulps, the Sharingan mode was turned off. Huh? What did you dream about again? Kakashi, who was woken up next to him, looked depressed. He finally found a relatively safe place and wanted to sleep for a while, but he didn't expect that danger was right next to him. Obito turned his head and stared at Kakashi. The same look in the eyes of the vengeful ghost made Kakashi a little scared. Forget it, let's not talk about it. Kakashi waved his hands. He probably knew what Obito dreamed about. This is not a solution. At this time, Yingshu, who had been silent, spoke. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. We are running out of food and water. If we can't hold on for reinforcement, we will starve to death sooner or later if we wait any longer. Yingshu didn't say it explicitly, but the reinforcement should have arrived a long time ago. If nothing unexpected happens, they should have been surrounded by Iwagakure or Kumogakure, or both. They have not gained nothing in the past 2 days of escape. Iwagakure and Kumogakure seem to have the same goal, and this goal is obviously against Konoha, so they cannot be allowed to return alive. Even the intelligence cannot be passed out. So we are going to counterattack? Kakashi said as he took out his ninja tool bag, frowning slightly. I only have less than 20 detonating tags left. Obito also raised his hand to count. I have even fewer, only 11. 10. 1 is useless, but it can scare people. I still have some. Iki said, silently taking out a stack of detonating tags, plus a storage scroll. Here are 30 pieces, and the space scrolls that master gave me still have 100 pieces, which is barely enough. Yingshu reported his own reserves, with a somewhat painful look on his face. How much money can these detonating tags be exchanged for? He longed for the day when he could join the Akatsuki organization. These detonating tags of his worthy equipment, provided by Kushina when she led the rescue operation. Afterwards, Kushina was in a good mood and gave them all to him. Yingshu called 3 shadow bodies, and it took them an hour to confirm the number. 39,171 detonating tags, a few less ninja tools, not even a fraction of the detonating tags. The most precious things are actually those blank storage scrolls. Small in size, easy to carry. If he put all the exploding talismans in it, he wouldn't be able to use up all of them. Iki couldn't bear to bring so many, so he only brought 100 exploding talismans and a bunch of wooden stakes for stand. With Kakashi and Obito looking at him like a monster, Iki made a hand seal to open the space scroll and took out the neatly packed exploding talismans. Well, 200 each for you two. Use them sparingly. Iki was a little embarrassed. Obito and Kakashi didn't hesitate. They took the exploding talismans and put them in their pockets, 200 each, leaving Iki with only the stack he took out at the beginning. 30. Feeling a little guilty, Iki didn't say anything. After all, he has another space scroll hidden. They are so persistent in chasing us, they must be trying to cover up something. Yingshu's face turned serious. Kakashi and Obito nodded in succession. And now, most of the roads we have to go back are blocked by them. Even if they are not completely blocked, we can't rely on luck. That's too risky. Kakashi and Obito continued to nod. Obito even wanted to raise his hand and say, "Why don't you just tell me what to do? I don't understand anyway." So, our only way out now is not to return to Konoha, but, Yingshu said, his eyes turned cold, "kill them back." After escaping for so many days, he has almost figured out the approximate location and number of the enemy. Compared to the passive escape at the beginning, it is Team 7 that has the initiative now. Although the enemy knows that there are only 3 people in Team 7, and they are just adults together, they think this is an advantage for Team 7. After all, detonating tags are not restricted by age, and Yingshu has a vague hunch. A certain Otaki might be watching them. If they really run away all the way, tragedy may happen soon. This battle is the first battle of Team 7 in the strict sense. It must be fought beautifully and with spirit. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. Chapter 103, 1. Frugal Thousand Hands. The moonlight in the dark night was largely taken up by the black cloud and was also somewhat obscured by the dense branches and leaves. Team 7 rushed in the darkness with a fast speed and low noise, stopping every 20 minutes to set traps and then continued to move out. Just as Yingshu expected. The farther they were from the fire country, the less people they saw along the way. Of course, this also made Team 7 more vigilant. It is true that what they are doing now is to take advantage of the gaps in the enemy's thinking, but objectively speaking, it is also a solitary force going deep into the enemy's mind. Once their traps are triggered one after another, the enemy will react quickly, and if they do not respond properly, they will easily be attacked. Yingshu's plan is to lay a trap circle in the forest that is as large as possible, non-linear, deep, and as circular as possible. In this way, when the enemy surrounds them, they can use the sound of the trap detonating to find loopholes in the enemy's encirclement. Any place that is not stepped on, where the sound is too loud or too quiet, can be their escape route. It all depends on luck. During the charge, Team 7 stopped again and laid out the detonating talisman trap according to the established plan. But the 3 of them started again. The unusual movement from about 10 meters in front of them made the 3 of them hide like startled birds in an instant. The way Team 7 hides when encountering the enemy is very particular. Iki, who is in charge of fire suppression, often chooses to hide nearby, crouch in the bushes or simply use transformation techniques to transform into the bushes. He doesn't ask the enemy not to find him. He just asks that he can be the first to be exposed so as to attract people's attention. After Iki, the offensive chain of Team 7 is Obito, and then Kakashi. The difference between the two is similar to that of a warrior who is equivalent to a wretched warrior, and an assassin who is equivalent to a wretched assassin. Obito is responsible for charging and dispelling the enemy's last vigilance. Kakashi, on the other hand, waits for the opportunity to move, looking for lone enemies, or injured enemies, commonly known as K-heads. So the 2 of them will choose a more concealed place, where they can observe the enemy or Iki, because the timing of the attack is controlled by Iki. Although the sparrow is small, it has everything. With Iki, a jack of all trades ninja, Team 7 can basically perform any tactics. Of course, there are flaws. The perception ability of Team 7 is always a shortcoming. Kakashi can't learn it. His control of space only stays at the position where he can attack in a short time, and the same goes for Chakra, a standard close-range assassin. This may be one of the reasons why he couldn't learn Flying Thunder God in the original time and space, except for the amount of Chakra. Obito does have some talent in this area, but he doesn't learn it. Reason: it's not a move against Kakashi, he's just too lazy to learn it. He learned Earth Escape so that Kakashi could fight him peacefully with physical skills, without playing dirty tricks. He learned Illusion so that he could fight Kakashi peacefully, and to trick Kakashi, Iki wanted to learn Perception type ninjutsu. His chakra control is also very delicate, so Perception type ninjutsu should be easy to learn. But the problem is that he doesn't have time. The Senjutsu and those ninjutsu have already consumed too much of his energy. If he wants to match the development speed of the ninjutsu professor, he has to give up something. Rustle, their enemy is getting closer. Team 7 was on high alert. Yingshu did not choose to use transformation this time. The enemy had already arrived here, proving that the range they could move was not large. A quick battle and a quick move were the best options. Gradually, 3 figures entered Yingshu's lock range. The night was too dark. Yingshu could not see the enemy's forehead and could only make out a rough shape of their bodies. The enemy was not fast and did not communicate on the way. Although they did not have the tension that should be in a battle, they were alert enough. It was completely different from the plots in the novels and TV dramas that Yingshu had watched, where the enemy would reveal intelligence while chatting, and in the end someone would be left alone and sighing. The 3 figures were getting closer and closer. The ring finger of Ikki's left hand curled up slightly. Warm reminder, to facilitate everyone's book selection, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. This is a signal to Obito. He is preparing to launch an attack. 40 meters. Ikki closed his eyes and stopped observing, but began to make seals with both hands. An experienced hunter will not lock onto the prey for too long before firing. The same is true for ninjas. After experiencing life and death, people often have an inexplicable premonition of the moment of death. 3 seconds later, Ikki's seal is about to be ready, and his ninjutsu is close to the advanced level. He opened his eyes and locked the enemy's position for the last time. The enemy is only a little over 10 meters away from him. This distance is the best striking range for Ikki. Yingshu wanted to wait a little longer, striving to kill with one strike, shorten the time as much as possible, and still have time to set traps. The enemy had already noticed something was wrong. Although they failed to capture the location of Team 7, the ninjas who were able to come to the border of Fire Country to carry out the mission were not ordinary people. Yingshu simply didn't bother to hide, and the chakra that had been prepared long ago surged out crazily. Water style, water rapid fire. Yingshu muttered to himself in his heart, and then, tut 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 tut, in the darkness, water balls were heading straight for the 3 people. Not good. The enemy reacted very quickly, and they dispersed as soon as possible and rushed to deal with it at the same time. But at the same time, fire style, great fireball, boom. The firelight briefly made the forest no longer so dark. Ikki also saw the enemy's forehead clearly. A Kumogakure ninja, obviously. Many of the water bullets missed, but this was the first offensive ninjutsu that Ikki mastered in a strict sense. Even if there was only one shot, few people could withstand it. Even if the opponent was a rough guy from Kumogakure. Soon, someone groaned. Then there were a few more metal collisions, and Kakashi also took action. Ikki was not idle either. He rushed to the front of a Kumogakure with a thigh injury. The two looked at each other. Ikki saw the surprise in the man's eyes. At the same time, he also raised his arm that had been accumulating chakra for a long time. Strange power. Start. Ikki's chakra operation is very delicate. It is so delicate that Ikki himself can't think of a few people in the original time and space who can compare with him. The cheating Sakura can barely be counted as one. After all, she is a true citizen who can master the 100 healings technique. Tsunade can also be counted as one. She can be the #1 medical ninja in the ninja world. The delicate chakra is inversely proportional to her personality. Ikki and Tsunade are from the same clan. When it comes to chakra manipulation, his approach is really different from Tsunade's. Take super strength for example. As a medical ninja, Tsunade rarely uses up all her chakra, so when her super strength is activated, the scene often explodes, literally. Tsunade is very delicate, and the chakra used in medical ninjutsu is already at the level of microscopic cells. The upper and lower limits are both very high, either rough and casual, or delicate like cell wall surgery. And Ikki, maybe he is too poor and used to a hard life. The habit of solving problems frugally has been ingrained in him. He can haggle for a long time over the price of an egg, and he is reluctant to waste even a single drop of chakra during the day, because everything is strictly calculated. It is also a battle against an enemy with super strength. If it is a Tsunade, the enemy in front of him is likely to turn into blood foam. Here comes Ikki. With his 5 fingertips gathered in one place, forming a bird's beak, Ikki manipulates the chakra precisely, fearing to waste a drop. The attack went straight to the chest of the Kumogakure ninja, without any fancy moves or noises. It penetrated directly, the white arm went in, and the red arm came out. Ninja Method, Health Rust 5 Book Kanju Senju Yuriki Edition. Here it is. Tips. There are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. Chapter 104 Damn old 6. The enemy was dealt with as quickly as possible. Team 7 did not waste time. After setting traps on the corpses, they set out again. The noise they made was not loud, and it was just like a sudden gust of wind in the dark night, but there were ninjas all around, and they had no reason to stay. However, not long after they left, when they were setting up another set of detonating tags, an explosion from afar rang out in the dark night. Boom. Detonating tags are divided into grades. It depends on financial resources, and on the study of techniques, and Kushina happened to have all of these. So the detonating tag traps set up by Iki and the others were powerful. The sound of the explosion was also huge. They started to rush forward. Iki said in a deep voice. The three of them looked at each other and set off without saying a word. This time they did not stop. After advancing a certain distance, they each left a shadow clone and an explosive tag to set a trap. The explosions rang out one after another, so harsh in the dark night. The whole forest seemed to have awakened, and an unprecedented sense of tension enveloped the 7th squad. The explosions were getting closer and closer. The pursuers behind them seemed to be endless. Yingshu's brows gradually wrinkled, and now he couldn't figure out the number of enemies. At the beginning, the number of Kumogakure and Iwagakure chasing them was about 12 to 18. The Kumogakure would be less, and the Iwagakure would be more. But now the explosive tags are exploding one after another, and the enemy is obviously following their movement trajectory. If all those detonating tags were effective, not to mention 30 people, 300 people would not be able to handle it. But now the explosions were getting closer and closer. Yingshu suspected that someone had discovered their trap. Damn it, there's Liu. Yingshu cursed. People who can discover other people's traps are generally good at making traps. Such people are extremely despicable and disgusting. And then, to make matters worse, with Liu chasing behind them, the situation ahead for Team 7 was not all smooth sailing. Just as they were passing a bush, Earth escape, Earth lung gun. It was a few Iwagakure who were lying in ambush here. The ground trembled, and one Earth spear after another stabbed out from the ground. The enemy had a good grasp of the timing, and Team 7 had no time to retreat. Oh my god. Yingshu was speechless. Why were they so cunning? At this critical moment, Yingshu's operation began. He first kicked Kakashi on the buttocks, kicking Kakashi far away, and then grabbed Obito's collar and swung it towards the sky. At the same time, he first jumped sideways and narrowly avoided an earth spear. Then he mobilized his chakra frantically and smashed it hard on the ground. Boom. With a loud bang, a deep pit was smashed directly into the ground in front of him. This is not over yet. Yingshu has already started to make seals with both hands. His fingers are so tight that sparks are coming out, and finally he slams down on the ground. Earth style, earth flow. Mastering the changes in chakra properties does not mean that one can use any ninjutsu perfectly. Even if the chakra properties are naturally compatible, it is still impossible to use them perfectly when launching ninjutsu. The reason why Sarutobi Hiruzen is so strong is because he has studied the properties of chakra thoroughly, so he can use any ninjutsu with ease. Yingshu is still a little short of that. The chakra consumption of earth-style ninjutsu is about 40% more than that of water-style ninjutsu. But he has a lot of chakra. Warm tips: if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid being lost next time. Under the surge of chakra at all costs, Yingshu directly grabbed the control of this piece of land. The earth escape technique that uses the terrain is to control the earth with chakra. When both parties want to use the same piece of land to launch ninjutsu, the quality and quantity of chakra are the key. The earth turned into mud, and even the strong earth spears were filled with water. Yes, it happened. The mud surged and rushed towards several rock ghosts. At the same time, Kakashi adjusted his body shape and immediately drilled into the bushes, and the assassin mode was turned on. Obito started to make hand seals in the sky, and he was running towards the coaster. Fire style, fire dragon flame bullet. Song. The firelight illuminated the night again. The situation of the battle was reversed in an instant. Several Iwagakure obviously hadn't reacted yet. How did the party that ambushed others become the suppressed party? Not to mention, the current situation is really similar to the situation when Team 7 just ambushed several Kumogakia. Iki used the unreasonable earth style and turned the backhand into the first hand. Obito followed up with the fire style, and Kakashi showed his short sword. The battle ended in about an hour. Iki's earth stream and Obito's fire dragon flame bomb complemented each other, destroying and burning the enemy, and then Kakashi made the finishing blow. Kushina's education of the three people paid off well. If the opponent was Kushina, the three people might have a bump on their heads in no time. But now, the combat power of Team 7 is really not something that can be evaluated by a young age. Don't do too much, Toko. Iki stopped Obito, who was about to set up a chain trap with a detonating tag, and looked at the distance with a serious look. The sound of the explosion was getting closer and closer. It's better to leave a sound for your ears. Let's go quickly. I feel something is wrong. Obito nodded, and the three of them set off immediately without any hesitation. The speed of the enemy's pursuit was much faster than Yingshu had imagined. It only took a dozen seconds to set a trap, but the time interval for the trap to be triggered was also quite short. Yingshu saw only two possibilities for this situation. Either multiple teams were triggered at the same time, or one or more Liu rushed to the front to clear the mines. The former was not bad, although the pursuit was close, there would always be casualties. But if it was the latter, damn Liu, he died a horrible death. In the night, the 7th team moved forward quickly. What they didn't know was, a pair of scholar eyes were quietly watching them. They seemed to be speeding up. So vigilant. A voice with a strange accent sounded, and the scholar-eyed Kingsu sneered. Then play with them again. Death is just a matter of time for them. Kingsu's voice was a little hoarse. The mask covered his hideous face, that was burned by the flames. The scholar eyes were full of coldness and malice, and two Magatama were prominently displayed on them. It was Uchiha, it was Wakaka. Obito fired a huge fireball, burning Uchiha Wakaka's self-esteem. The young man who came with a bright future finally took it all. The first moment of falling into darkness. What Uchiha Ruka thought about was not his family, not his partners, not how to struggle out of the darkness. It was how to pull others down into the abyss of darkness. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. Chapter 105, Met an opponent. It was 4:35 in the morning. It was the 5th day of the B-rank rescue mission for Team 7. At daybreak, Team 7, who had been fleeing all the way, exposed their biggest problem, physical fitness. After all, their average age was just over 7 years old. Captain Hideki, who was about to turn 8, had the blood limit inherited from the Senju clan, so he could hold on for another day. He was not like Kakashi and Obito, especially since Kakashi was an assassin with a low health bar. Helplessly, Hideki chose to rest temporarily beside a small river, and at the same time, released his shadow body, took the detonating talisman, and scattered out to be on alert and vigilant. Gulp. Obito, who was thirsty, drank water in big gulps. After finishing a bottle, he felt unsatisfied, and ran to the river, to get some water to drink. But Iki stopped Obito immediately. Be careful, it might be poisonous. The water was indeed running water, but it was in the middle and lower parts. If someone poisoned the upper parts, Team 7 might have a barbecue on the spot. Don't ask Iki why he was so vigilant, because if he was the pursuer, he would do the same. He could even ambush at the water source. Pursuing with force is a bad idea. Trapping the enemy to death is the safest thing to do. And facts prove it. Water is not necessarily poisonous, but ambushes really do exist. On the other side of the river, swords cut through the air and shot towards the three people. Come closer to me. Yingshu made hand seals with his hands alertly. He didn't know there would be an ambush near the water source, but he chose this place specifically. He had his reasons. As he made hand seals, the stream, which was not very turbulent, suddenly became uneasy. The water was stripped away from the river and rushed towards Yingshu. However, it circled around Team 7, spinning continuously, forming a dynamic circular water wall. Water escape technique. Water array wall. This is not over yet. In the process of developing hydrogen escape technique, Yingshu first studied the form and nature of water attribute chakra. His water escape technique may not be as fierce as that of the sea escape ninja Tobirama. It is definitely more fierce than Tobirama. The water wall blocked the shurikens' ricocheting, and at the same time, 2 dragon heads emerged from the water wall. No matter how the water wall rotated, it was aimed at the ambushes that appeared from both sides. Yes, in addition to the enemies on the other side of the river, the pursuers behind them were also ambushed. 4 smoke bombs ready, Yingshu yelled, and then, water escape, double dragon bomb. 2 water dragons rushed towards the enemies on both sides. The water wall almost drained all the water in the stream, and the water dragon bomb drained the water wall. Yingshu didn't dare to hold back, he needed to buy time, so the attack of this water dragon bomb was abnormally fierce. Before the smoke bombs rose, Yingshu also quickly scanned the enemy's deployment in the darkness. Across the river was the Iwagakure, a small group of only 3 people, who had already begun to resist the water dragon's attack with earth escape. Behind them was the joint force of Iwagakure and Kumogakure. Although they were called a joint force, they were actually on guard against each other, one on the left and one behind, keeping a certain distance, and the Iwagakure still had the advantage in numbers. Among the enemies behind him, there were about a dozen Iwagakure, while Kumogakure only had a team of 6. At this moment, Yingshu thought a lot. The difference in the number of Kumogakure and Iwagakure should not be so big. I remember it was 40:60. After all, Iwagakure likes to use the number of ninjas to overwhelm the enemy. This is an old tradition. In the original time and space, Team 7 was surrounded and blocked by a bunch of people. The 3rd Raikage was surrounded and beaten by 10,000 people and finally died of exhaustion. There is an old man named Inoki in Iwagakure who likes to do this the most. But what surprised Yingshu the most was that with so many detonating tags, the enemies were not only unharmed, but the reduction in the number of people was equivalent to nothing. Kumogakure did lose a few people, but the number was indeed limited. Yingshu tried to find the wretched old 6 from his face. He felt that there must be a mind clearance expert among them. Unfortunately, the smoke rose, and it was too late. 4 smoke bombs represent the number 4 old 6 tactics. This tactic is also often used by the 3 Earth Escape plus Shadow Body luring enemy tactics. Iki first called out the Shadow Body, then drilled underground, and pulled Kakashi and Obito down. Warm reminder, in order to facilitate everyone's book selection, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. The Shadow Body used the transformation technique to transform into the first Team 7 and started to run away while taking advantage of the smoke. This tactic often works because their age can often give people a psychological illusion. It feels like they will be afraid and will run away. In fact, their escape route is just not normal. However, this time, Team 7 met an opponent. That's the Shadow Body. They are underground. I'll do it. Earth escape, split earth and turn the fist. If you don't come out, you will be crushed to death underground, you little brats. Fuck, run. Yingshu yelled, and the 3 dared not stay, and quickly got out. Yingshu was not unfamiliar with this move. Let's put it this way, Obito in the beginning of the sky was half crushed by this move, and then was fooled by Madara to do pyramid selling. Yingshu didn't want to give Madara 3 heads straight. Huh, Madara. Yingshu suddenly realized something. But it was too late. The 3 had just emerged, and before they could stand firmly on the shaking ground, they were greeted by a bunch of strong kunai and long swords. Kakashi drew his sword, Obito took out his kunai, and showed his 2 Magatama, and Ika's heartbeat accelerated, and his chakra surged wildly. It's time to use that trick, Iron Men. Go to the other side of the river to kill, I'll do it myself. Iki called out 4 shadow bodies, and a total of 5 Iki appeared on the field. One of them formed a seal with both hands, and pressed on the ground, and chakra instantly enveloped the earth. Earth escape, Huangquan Swamp. The ground suddenly became muddy and the range was not small. After the shadow body was used up, it dissipated immediately. The Iwagakure and Kumogakure in the back were temporarily restrained, and soon 2 Iwagakure supported the ground with their hands. Earth style. Earth flow wall. A wall of earth rose up, which was very stable on the muddy ground. The rest of the people jumped onto it, and used the force to rush towards Team 7. At this moment, Obito and Kakashi had already rushed to Iwagakure on the other side of the river. It seemed that Team 7 was really trying to break out. There were the least people there, and it was a breakthrough point. The two Iki followed closely behind, but each of them was forming seals with both hands. Behind the two Iki, the small water balls in their hands were already lit up. Water style, spiral water blade. The armor-piercing bullets were replaced with armor-piercing shells. The two people fired 4 water balls in their hands, and 4 fist-sized streams of water shot out. The techniques that Iki used were all typical postures, and were quite powerful. 2 Iwagakure and 1 Kumogakure tried to block with kunai and long swords, a little devil's technique, but they were hit by the powerful impact, and flew out on the spot. Enemy reduction. 3 remaining, more than 10. At this time, Yingshu finally completed his series of preparations. Get ready, Yingshu shouted loudly. Kakashi and Obito, who had just rushed in front of the Iwagakure, turned their heads without saying a word. How fierce they were when they started, how fast they came. The two flashed to Yingshu's side one after another, and formed hand seals at the same time. Still the earth escape technique of beheading in the heart, that had been played with. After drilling into the ground at the same time, the water ball between the two Ika's 4 hands, which was flashing with electric light, was basically completely transformed into a large balloon. Very big. Twice as big as the big ball Rasengan. This is the hydrogen escape technique created by Ika's 4 chakras. The shadow figure immediately disappeared. Iki, on the other hand, silently took out a detonating tag, activated it, and threw it into the air. Before Kakashi and Obito dragged him into the ground together, and then desperately used the earth escape technique to escape, Iki spread his arms, and raised his 2 middle fingers. Goodbye, you bastards. Retreat. I don't know which ninja almost shouted out loud. 3 seconds later. Boom. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf to prevent losing the novel you are reading. Chapter 106 Photos. The hydrogen escape technique, after more than 2 years of research and development by Yingshu, has begun to show results. Now both the advantages and disadvantages are obvious. Advantages: sufficient power and large range. Disadvantages: too powerful and too large range. This means that Yingshu can only regard this as the ultimate backup at this stage, a life-saving skill to turn the table and expose the cards. Let's talk it over nicely, don't try to bully me. Once the hydrogen escape technique is used, you will die if you don't do it. The 3 little ones stayed underground for a while. The earth escape technique of heart decapitation allowed them to avoid a certain impact, and the earth escape technique of soil diving made the soil soft, buffering a certain impact, and allowed them to leave the explosion range as much as possible. But these 2 earth escape techniques are not equivalent to air raid shelters after all. Team 7 only had 3 seconds to evade, but they were still badly shaken. The 3 of them took a long time to relax underground. Only when they felt less dizzy did they get out of the ground. Sure enough, it was charred black outside, with several charred corpses lying in a mess not far away. You could vaguely see the remnants of earth escape techniques that were trying to defend themselves in front of the charred corpses. But it was obviously useless. Team 7 was still badly shaken, even though they hid underground. How could they be any better if they faced the explosion head on? A big hole was blown out on the ground. Iki chose an air explosion, but this hole would be even bigger. It's finally over. Obito breathed a sigh of relief and sat down on the ground. He really reached his limit. After running all night and fighting continuously, his physical strength and chakra were running out. Kakashi was in a similar situation, but his expression when looking at Iki was a little strange. We all graduated from the same school. Why do you have so much chakra? 8, 9, 11. The vigilant Iki was still counting heads. Hydrogen escape technique is not an invincible technique. Ono Masayoshi dodged it only once, and he almost let him escape. In fact, Iki has already begun to think about how to achieve effective long-range attack. Traditional hydrogen bombs are air-to-ground ultra-long-range attacks. Wind escape may be able to achieve it, and shadow body may also be able to achieve it. But if he opens his mind, Iki thinks there may be a better way. If his earth escape technique is powerful, wouldn't it be more efficient to use hydrogen escape technique from underground to attack the ground? A towering building rises from the ground. How surprising. This time, I have to ask the old man to teach me the earth escape technique, no matter what. Yingshu thought secretly, but at this moment, something strange happened. Suddenly, a figure broke out of the ground not far from the three people, holding a kunai and clearly heading towards Yingshu. Yingshu was still daydreaming at this moment. Who would have thought that he would be ambushed by the attack method he imagined? Looking for death. Yingshu's eyes turned cold. Physical skills are indeed his weakness. But he has an advantage. That is, he is strong and not afraid of pain. The fingers were clasped together to form a bird's beak, and the chakra was ready in an instant, and the Iki style was ready. But at this time, Iki, be careful. A heart-wrenching roar made Iki's heart skip a beat. It turned out that Obito, who reacted faster, threw Iki down with a flying throw, and narrowly saved Iki. Oh my god. Iki was speechless. I had even thought of a celebration posture. But before Iki could get angry, the warmth dripping on his face made him startled again. Iki turned his head. Obito, who was leaning on him at the moment, had a blood stain on his face, starting from the eyebrow of his left eye, slanting down to the bottom of his right eye. Blood was dripping down. It hit Iki's face. Obito had a sluggish expression, and Iki was the same. Doko? Iki called out tentatively. Obito's eyes finally regained some spirit. He didn't say anything, but just glanced at Iki. It seemed that he was relieved after making sure that Iki was dead, and then he got down. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. Ping. Kakashi took over the battlefield. At this moment, he was at his wits' end, and could only struggle to hold on. Come and help, you two. Kakashi narrowly avoided the attack, took a moment to look at the two people who were stuck together, and suddenly felt something was wrong. Ping, another collision. Kakashi had difficulty blocking it this time, and was kicked to the side of Iki. But he didn't care so much, and quickly turned his head to look at Obito. Are you okay? It's okay. Iki carefully put Obito down, slowly stood up, took a deep breath, and made hand seals to summon two shadow clones. One carried Obito on his back, and the other began to heal Obito's face. But Yingshu's eyes were fixed on the figure in front of him. It was an Iwagakure ninja. His eyes were provocative, and there was a sly smile on his face. He kept spinning his kunai with his fingers, like a pervert with a special fetish. You go first, Kakashi. My shadow clone will treat him on the way. Yingshu tilted his neck. I'll catch up soon after I deal with this bastard. As soon as the words fell, boom, Yingshu's legs suddenly stepped out, and he kicked a small hole in the ground. His body smashed towards the Iwagakure like a cannonball, and his fists were surging with chakra. Boom. This attack did not hit the Iwagakure ninja, but it created a deep pit on the ground. At this moment, Yingshu was firing at full force. He just wanted to vent the anger in his chest. The Iwagakure ninja fell on the branch, his eyes full of shock. You actually? How is it possible? The voice was shocking, but the tone was strange. Yingshu heard it somewhat familiar. His anger overwhelmed his rationality. His figure turned into a cannonball again, and he raised his fist and smashed forward. His eyes were red. At this moment, Konoha, in a simple wooden house built in the dense forest, it seemed that he felt something in his heart. The old man coughed violently, but his eyes were fixed, and he kept looking for something in the messy house. His time is running out. The old man dug out a small box from the sundries. Inside were 2 scrolls, 2 opaque containers, and several old photos. He made a seal, and a shadow clone appeared. The shadow clone was condensed by chakra, with his back still straight, but his eyes were extremely deep. Is it time? Well, go ahead. The old man handed the box to the shadow clone, who sighed and looked at the photos that were taken out. Sure, you won't tell the kid. The old man did not respond. Instead, he stared blankly at the photos. The first one was a group photo of 5 little ghosts. The little ghost who had just lost his parents was held in the arms of his eldest cousin. The second photo is a group photo of Uchiha and Senju signing the alliance. The man shakes hands with the eldest brother. The kid in the corner has grown up and sincerely wishes them well. In the third photo, the kid has a family and a beautiful girl. The eldest brother is gone. The second brother is holding the child. The family of 4 is happy. In the fourth photo, the kid's child has grown up and fell in love with an Uchiha brat. He also gave birth to a fat boy. The kid who was born is also the child's grandfather. The girl died in the war. The brat tried desperately to find her, but in the end, all he got back was a corpse with its eyes gouged out. He found his eyes. The parents who loved the child are gone. Senju is also gone. The fifth photo. The photo is a bit new. The child has become a ninja. His eyebrows and eyes are like his mother's, his face is a bit like his second brother, and his hair is the same as his eldest brother. He could have been an ordinary person, like the other Senju who survived, no longer a ninja, but still able to survive. The old man said, looking at the shadow clone, as if mumbling to himself, or as if asking his own heart. In the end, I still led him to the path of ninja. You say, did I do something wrong? Warm reminder, in order to facilitate everyone's book selection, the website's ranking page has been optimized. Everyone can try it. Chapter 107 Microscopic Chakra Reaction. At this moment, Ikki's state is a bit strange. He does not have much chakra left, but it feels smoother. If he has to describe the feeling of chakra, Ikki thinks that the word control is more appropriate. Every beat of chakra is very clear and obedient. This feeling of fully exerting what he possesses makes Ikki more irritable. Yes, this is a powerful feeling. Why can't he squander the power he has? With a charge, Ikki arrived in front of the Iwagakure ninja. His speed is faster, and if Kakashi is still here, he will feel ashamed. Facing the small fist of Yingshu, the Iwagakure ninja not only did not dare to resist, but his first reaction was to dodge. Then he raised the kunai in his hand and tried to counterattack. It has to be said that Yingshu's close combat skills are very ordinary. There is no other reason, just great strength and fast speed. But the Iwagakure ninja in front of him seems to be very ordinary, but he has an inexplicable calmness. It seems that death, for this Iwagakure ninja, is not even within the scope of consideration. Yingshu's punch missed, which made him even more angry. He turned around and kneed him, but was dodged again. At the same time, the Iwagakure ninja found the breakthrough, and the kunai in his hand directly stabbed Yingshu. At this moment, Yingshu has two choices. He dodged steadily, and even formed seals with both hands, to cover with a wave of ninjutsu while retreating. But this was a choice he would have made every time before. Now, he prefers to take the hit head on. Yingshu's eyes turned cold, and he instinctively wanted to grab the kunai head on. He even had an illusion. He seemed to be able to crush the kunai. But in this thought and action, the moment when the biological electricity drove the muscles of the limbs to move, a third choice popped up in Yingshu's mind. His hand was forced to fall down 1 centimeter during the process of taking the hit head on. Exactly 1 centimeter, no more, no less, which made his arm and the kunai perfectly staggered, and the two arms were almost stuck together. Then, Yingshu's small hand grabbed the arm of the Iwagakure ninja. I got you. Yingshu's mouth curled up, and that smile was so innocent. The Iwagakure ninja was startled. He wanted to break free, but ignored Yingshu's other hand. Yingshu was quick-eyed and quick-handed, and directly grabbed the Iwagakure ninja's shoulder again, then lightly jumped and pushed his feet on the Iwagakure ninja's chest, and suddenly exerted force. Crack, bang. The next moment, Yingshu actually pulled off the two arms one after another. Then, a weird scene appeared. These two arms are so lifelike, but there is no blood at all, and the place where they are connected to the body is also white liquid. This scene makes Yingshu feel that he has pulled off two high imitation prosthetic limbs. This sudden situation made Yingshu stunned for a moment, and then he regained his composure. This is not a prosthetic limb. The person in front of him is not an Iwagakure ninja. It's a fucking white zetsu. Madara suddenly stared at them. When people are in an excited state, their thinking is often single-minded, commonly known as being high. People with strong mental strength may be able to calm down quickly and make the most rational judgment. Yingshu's psychological quality is pretty good. At this moment, he can think of at least two options. First, since the enemy in front of him is a white zetsu, he is not afraid. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. This kind of thing is just scary, but in fact it is nothing. Secondly, since it is certain that Madara has locked onto them, the most dangerous person at the moment is probably Obito. However, his shadow body has not dissipated yet, so Obito is temporarily safe, but he cannot delay any longer. Overall conclusion, a quick battle and a quick decision, and then support Obito. Therefore, Iki threw away the two arms in his hands, and then quickly formed seals with both hands. But it was just such a simple, routine chakra mobilization. Iki's thoughts fluctuated again. This time, the fluctuation was not the fluctuation of a otaku hearing a beautiful girl calling his own brother. Instead, it was the feeling of discovering that his body seemed to have suddenly changed from a skinny little boy to a muscular man. The last time he had this feeling was when the old man helped him correct his body and he suddenly felt that his chakra had increased. But this time it was not the same. Yingshu found that his chakra was so delicate. Intuitively speaking, he felt that he seemed to be able to knead the chakra into the shape he liked at will, and do whatever he wanted, without the need to spend energy, to change the nature or the form. This fluctuation of thought lasted only a moment. And in just such a moment, Yingshu made a choice. He was not going to use the shadow body, and then the hydrogen escape method. Water escape water burst, inject yang escape chakra, lightning escape lightning explosion. Seal. Still the same few seals. Process. Still the same process. But there were no more small water balls, and no more lightning. Yingshu's eyes widened. He had achieved the microscopic chakra reaction that he had dreamed of so vaguely. Microscopic chakra reaction refers to the fusion and qualitative change of two or more chakras of different attributes before forming a ninjutsu, forming a new ninjutsu, commonly known as blood inherited limit. Yingshu is still not in the blood inherited limit at this moment. He has achieved the microscopic chakra reaction entirely through the delicate and minute chakra manipulation. That is, a water attribute chakra attached with a yang attribute chakra directly matches the lightning attribute chakra that can react with it, abandoning the reaction process after the ninjutsu is formed, and achieving the result after the reaction when the ninjutsu is formed. In plain words, he can directly create hydrogen chakra. Even if it is not a blood limit, he can also create a different kind of chakra that can only be created by a blood limit. Hydrogen. Wind style. Yingshu's eyes were full of excitement, but as a liberal arts student, he was so serious that he did not shout out the name. A wind-style ninjutsu quickly appeared in his mind, and his body began to move. Big breakthrough. The next moment, a gust of wind suddenly spurted out from Yingshu's mouth, rushing directly towards the white zetsu. The white zetsu lost his arms, but still maintained his disguise. The strong wind hit, and the white zetsu could only let the strong wind rage. And this is exactly what Yingshu wanted. He has already run away, leaving behind a shadow. The shadow seals. Fire style, great fireball technique. This move is for Obito. The fireball quickly caught up with the wind, but they did not complement each other. When the flames touched the tail of the wind, boom. It was like a flaming pen, passing through the air, accompanied by a deafening roar, and the firelight directly illuminated half of the sky. But Yingshu did not even turn his head to look at this amazing explosion. He knew that he had grown up. He found that he seemed to awaken something. Warm reminder, the problem of logged in users saving bookshelves across devices has been corrected. If you still cannot save, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the cookies of the browser, log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. Chapter 108. Is it infinite monthly reading? When Iki hurriedly caught up with the team, he saw a tired Kakashi, Obito with closed eyes, and a frozen expression on his face. I tried my best, but, alas. The shadow clone sighed, and then disappeared. Kakashi had a blank look in his eyes, like a living dead, squatting on the ground, motionless. It seemed as if Obito was already dead. Why? The information was fed back into Ika's mind, and Ika's expression suddenly became strange. Obito was not seriously injured, but he consumed too much energy, whether it was mentally, physically, or chakra. The reason why the shadow clone was helpless was simply because there was no one who practiced healing techniques. After all, it is only a tool for providing yang release chakra, Quantity is more important than quality, and Iki has too many subjects to practice, so he has never had time, so he just does a little bit, and it is enough. Obito's face will probably be scarred. Well, a knife went through both sides of his face, from the upper left to the lower right. If he wants to cover it, he can only wear a mask. Even Kakashi's mask can't do it. So Obito can't escape the fate of the masked man. Iki's heart is quite complicated. At the same time, he is also a little confused about the future. White Zetsu, Madara, Obito, the masked man. There is destiny and coincidence. Now, with some uncertain factors of his own. Let's go back to Konoha first. Yingshu carried Obito. Kakashi's eyes also regained some spirit, and the three of them set off. At the same time. Why don't you aim directly at Uchiha Obito? Why don't you just kill him? It's still in time to chase him just now. Why are you running? Uchiha Ruoko didn't understand. He met this monster who didn't know what it was, and why didn't it obey his orders? Team 7 must die. But Uchiha Obito must die first. He gave the order to kill Uchiha Obito directly, while the three were not prepared. But in the end, this guy attacked the civilian first. As a result, all three of them escaped. Just when Uchiha Wakaba was still hysterically blaming his servant. Just where he was, 200 meters deeper. Madara, that guy opened the same eyes as you. I was scared to death. The same was true for Beiju. One was scolded, and the other was accusing. Some people think they are great, but in fact they don't even have the qualifications to perceive the truth. Beiju, in an exaggerated tone, truthfully recounted the experience of his clone. Then, he looked at the old man in front of him who was like a sculpture, and slowly opened his eyes. Those were a pair of scholar eyes, with 3 megatoma coiled above them, as deep and profound as an ancient well, making people want to sink into them, but they dare not look at them. Of course, Beiju didn't have the courage to dare. Strictly speaking, he had no brains. Sharingan? That child, is he also a descendant of the Uchiha clan? Some old and weak voices echoed in the space, and Madara frowned slightly. So, did he see your true self? An extra Sharingan, an extra Uchiha clan member. This seemed to be just a trivial matter to Madara. The entire ninja world has no secrets in front of him. Should it be him? Beisetsu stroked his green-haired son. Of course, he won't know about me before he sees me. Beisetsu grinned. Are you going to kill him? That child is very important to Obito. Warm reminder, the problem of logged-in users saving bookshelves across devices has been corrected. If it still cannot be saved, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the browser cookies, log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. After a short silence, Madara closed his eyes again. Plan, change it a little. From dawn to day, and from day to night. Team 7 stopped and started, but finally returned to Konoha before 10 o'clock that night. As the captain, Iki should have reported to the Hokage building as soon as possible. But he didn't. He first sent Obito to the hospital and asked Kakashi to check his body, and then Iki returned home. He was afraid that Kumi would wake up, so he did not go in through the front door directly, but chose to climb through the window. But as soon as he landed on the window, Iki's eyes widened again. Damn. Why is Kumi lying in his room? Question mark? Iki was stunned for a second, and then he retreated hesitantly. After hesitating for a long time, he came to his original small house again. The one with 2 floor-to-ceiling windows. Yingshu didn't bring a key, but he didn't need one, so he went in through the French window. It was unexpected. The dust inside wasn't too abnormal. After all, there were 2 big holes, but Yingshu didn't care about it. He went to the bathroom. When he moved, he basically moved everything, but there were many things in the bathroom that couldn't be moved. For example, the toilet, wash basin and faucet. For example, the mirror embedded in the wall. Yes, Yingshu went through so much trouble to come back just to look in the mirror safely and secretly. 1 second later. Oh my god, it's true. In the mirror, there was a handsome face that could not be seen clearly without turning on the light, and a pair of eyes that seemed to be flashing red light. 2 megatoma hovered above it. Yingshu felt mixed emotions. He once thought, if he was an Uchiha at the beginning, then he would probably have 2 megatoma when he opened his eyes. He really got it right. but now he is not curious about his life experience, but afraid. This is a senju and an Uchiha. No matter how you look at it, why does it look a bit like the infinite Tsukuyomi? Is there a possibility? He did travel through time, but he happened to travel to the scene of Uchiha Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi just before Kaguya Otsutsuki appeared. Then, he was tied up like a mummy without knowing anything. And everything now was his dream? Damn. What are you thinking about? Yingshu almost slapped himself suddenly. If this was really a dream, Madara would have knelt down and sang conga long ago. So, now I'm both a senju and an Uchiha. The two are united, and all things are in the universe. I'm invincible? Yingshu suddenly thought of a figure. The figure was wearing purple armor, with a majestic but peaceful face. His hands were clasped together, and Sanskrit sounds were heard, and behind him were 998 hands. Susanoo Buddha. This is not over yet. Yingshu closed his eyes and indulged in his imagination. 998 hands are equal to 998 Rasengan, which is equal to 998 hydrogen-style Rasengan. Standing high means seeing far, and growing tall also means throwing far. If the Ten Tails really comes one day, what can Susanoo do with its hydrogen escape and firepower against the Ten Tails? Question mark? A mere Ten Tails wants to fight me. Question mark? Friendly reminder, to make it easier for everyone to choose books, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109, Hydrogen Release, The Birth of the Rasengan. After making sure that his eyes were opened, Yingshu's first reaction was to find the old man and ask him clearly. He came to the number 3 training ground overnight, chopped down a tree with a spiral water blade, and tried to summon the old man. Now that he thinks about it, he seems to understand why the old man didn't let him learn illusion. This old man must know something. But then again, the old man seemed to hate Uchiha at first. I don't know if he was pretending. In fact, Yingshu really doesn't have a high desire to know about his own life experience. Although this sounds fantasy, similar to the infinite moon reading, everything is within the scope of understanding. Senju has disappeared. Why did they go into seclusion? And what did such a huge family do? Are all mysteries. Perhaps, if I had not traveled through time, or if I had not traveled through time to this body and this identity, then the Iju in this time and space would probably never know, until his death, that he had 2 surnames instead of no surname. Maybe that's true. Who would have known that a few naughty kids fighting could kill someone? Wait. Now think about it. It would be a group of Uchiha fighting each other. Absolutely. But thinking about it, Iju still has an idea in his mind. Sharingan will be his biggest secret, and it even takes priority over Senju. At least, it is like this for Konoha and the ninja world. It doesn't matter whether Madara knows it or not, the two of them will have to fight sooner or later anyway. Yes, after Iki opened his eyes, the second person he thought of was Madara. The guy who attacked them was Jutsu, and the mastermind behind it was Madara. There is no doubt about that. In the past, Iki had fantasized about being injected with the 3 tails by Madara, and then bursting to the limit, taking the 3 tails into his pocket, and becoming a Jinchuriki for fun. Now, there is no need for that. After the Senju clan's blood limit is fully developed, they are not afraid of the tailed beast. It doesn't mean that every member of the Senju clan can beat up the tailed beast. Not all Senju are called Ashirama, and not all Jinchuriki are perfect Jinchuriki. Iki just thinks that he already has enough cheats now. He doesn't need anything like the tailed beast. With only 2 Magatama, he can already produce hydrogen release chakra. He can already produce pseudo blood limit. Then when he has 3 Magatama, Manjaki, the thing he desires most is the world's nuclear power. Nuclear fusion in the left eye, nuclear fission in the left eye. His Manjaki ability is already predetermined. Iki has thought about it, and he recites it 500 times before going to bed every day. As for how to open the Manjaki, Iki is too lazy to think about it. This is a simple calculation problem. If the conditions are met, then the eyes will open naturally. If the conditions are not met, then what is the difference between opening the eyes and not opening the eyes? Yingshu lingered for a long time at the number 3 training ground. After chopping down 3 trees, when he was about to chop down the 4th tree, he gave up. The old man looked unwell, and he probably went out to drink. Practicing hydrogen escape late at night felt a bit disturbing. Now he couldn't go home. So Yingshu simply started to stir up seals. Yes, seals. From hydrogen escape to pseudo-hydrogen escape. From the reaction between ninjutsu and ninjutsu to the reaction between chakra and chakra. The process is actually the same. It just changed from the present to the microscopic, and the number of seals is still the same. It is equivalent to a more powerful technique, and more seals are required to match it. What Yingshu has to do now is how to simplify these seals. Water style, water dragon bullet can be 44 seals, or it can be 4 seals. Then his pseudo-hydrogen style can theoretically also be 1 seal. Yingshu is going to start from the most basic. Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and read background color in the upper right corner of the page. Water style, small water bowl technique, and thunder style, lightning bubble technique. This is the beginning of hydrogen style, and also the beginning of Yingshu's dream. He made 6 seals together, and soon, a small hydrogen ball appeared in his hand. Yingshu raised his eyebrows. So, he didn't feel it during the previous battle, but now it's a bit fresh. Some things are hard to forget after mastering them. For example, riding a bicycle. Yingshu is in the same situation now. Microscopic chakra reaction. Once you get it, you get it. He didn't even open his double megatama. Then this move. Yingshu held up one hand and tried to directly rub out a hydrogen escape ball. First, a spiral water ball, inject lightning attribute chakra, and then, what? The process went smoothly, without any obstacles, and the crazy spinning small water ball instantly turned into a crazy spinning big balloon. But before Yingshu could give himself a thumbs up, a problem arose. He controlled the water style spiral water ball easily. After all, water style chakra is the easiest to control of all attributes. But when yang water style reacts with lightning style to form hydrogen, the resulting hydrogen-oxygen mixture becomes a gas. In this case, the chakra is still spinning wildly, and it is still the way the Rasengan is used. But the problem is that the chakra in his hand is already a gas. Am I going to develop a Rasen shuriken? Looking at the hydrogen shuriken in his hand spinning like an overloaded windmill, Yingshu's eyes were filled with unstoppable excitement. The size is not as big as Naruto's, it is more like a slightly larger shuriken, wider than his palm, but after all, it is not ninjutsu, and does not have the property of cutting. It also seems not very stable, and feels like it will disperse at any time, and the size is getting smaller and smaller during the rotation. In such a short time, it has shrunk to the size of a palm. Yingshu know what he should do. It has come to this step. That S-level forbidden technique is right in front of him. How can he retreat? Ninjutsu chakra, arrange it. Yingshu has thought about it. As long as he can succeed, let alone ninjutsu chakra, earth jutsu, fire jutsu, he will try them one by one. Ninjas who can control chakra are so willful, but, as expected, after injecting the wind escape chakra, the windmill in his hand instantly became bigger, and the speed of rotation was also faster, and it also made a buzzing sound. It's working. Yingshu was overjoyed. Wind escape, no, hydrogen escape Rasen shuriken was born at this moment. Yingshu could even imagine the power of this attack. Needless to say, the cutting attribute may be weaker than the wind escape Rasen shuriken. After all, a lot of hydrogen escape chakra was infused into it. In terms of the sharpness alone, it may not be enough, but there are also advantages. At least it doesn't hurt when it is placed on the hand. Moreover, if he wants to cut, why does he need hydrogen escape chakra? Question mark? At this moment, Yingshu is thinking about how to detonate this hydrogen escape Rasen shuriken. Inject fire escape chakra again. Not very realistic. Even if it was going to explode on the spot, it would be more reliable to throw it out with a spiral wind wheel. Yingshu felt that he seemed to have overlooked something. If there is rapid friction, it seems that heat will be generated, right? Kinetic energy can be converted into heat energy, so if Yingshu raised his eyebrows and threw the hydrogen escape shuriken in his hand tentatively. The aim was good and it hit a big tree directly. But at the moment of hitting, Yingshu opened his shuriken and observed carefully and saw that the big tree seemed to emit a wisp of smoke during the cutting process. The next moment, boom. Warm reminder, in order to facilitate everyone's book selection, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. Chapter 110. Do you want to become a powerful medical ninja? We were ambushed. Obito was. We failed to rescue our comrades from that team. Obito and Kakashi haven't recovered yet. I'm not a qualified captain. Grandpa Sandame. The last sigh might have been a bit redundant, but Iki couldn't help it when the mood came. It's not your fault, Iki-kun. The Sandame opened his mouth and tried to comfort the fragile heart of the boy in front of him. But when the word came to his lips, he didn't know what to say. A full-strength team, led by a Jonin, was still wiped out. The enemy still surrounded them and cut off contact with Konoha. Yes, Konoha sent another support team, and it has been out of contact for 3 whole days. I'm afraid it's in danger. But Team 7 killed them anyway. This mission has undoubtedly exceeded the scope of B-class missions. Whether it is an A-class mission or an S-class mission may be debatable, but Team 7, they are still 3 children. Sarutobi Hiruzen is conflicted at this moment. Even when Danzo proposed the plan against White Fang, even when White Fang rushed to the route and broke up with Danzo, he was not so entangled. Confusion and self-blame. If the enemy was more fierce and the situation was more dangerous, then these 3 children, they are all the hope for the future of Konoha. Have a good rest, Iki-kun. The Enbu will take over the relevant matters later. Sarutobi Hiruzen said as he took out a small box. Here are 200,000 Ryo. Take it first. I will give you more later after the mission is evaluated. I'm not doing this for the money, Hokage grandpa. Ijutsu Saiden took the small box, then resisted the urge to count in front of him and said, Obito. Alas, the scar on his face is too deep. My healing technique. Alas. If only my medical ninjutsu could be more sophisticated than Obito. Alas. He's less than 8 years old. He just wanted to save his companions. What crime has he committed? Ijutsu put the small box in his arms, sighing in the process, which seemed so smooth and not at all inappropriate. Sarutobi Hiruzen really didn't notice it and even had the urge to sigh with him. But soon, he seemed to have thought of something, and his heavy eyes suddenly became extremely sharp. Little Yingshu, do you want to become a powerful medical ninja? Yingshu, HMM. This is too much. At this moment, Konoha village, the main gate, under the extremely respectful eyes of the garrison ninjas, 3 figures stepped into Konoha village. Their existence represents the strength of Konoha. Their return represents the victory of Konoha's frontline. They are the 3 ninjas. The 3 ninjas of Konoha. Among the 3 ninjas, there is a burly man with wild white hair and 2 red lines falling on his face. He looks heroic and is really a hero. It's just the big mole on his nose, plus this guy rubs his hands with a lewd smile. The heroic spirit is gone, and the vulgarity remains. That Orochimaru-san. Jiraiya looked at his good friend with a flattering look. Well, I haven't showered for a few days. It's Sachi. Go ahead. Orochimaru was calm and didn't even bother to look down on him. I'll go to the old man's place. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. Thank you. The 4th generation. Hatsune sneered. Then he waved his hand and left without saying anything. The scene suddenly became a little awkward. Of course, Orochimaru would not feel embarrassed about such things. He looked at Tsuneuka's leaving back calmly, completely ignoring Jiraiya, who also disappeared. Suddenly, Jiraiya was the only one left. TSK, boring. Jiraiya suddenly felt bored. His former friends are now different. Tsuneuki lost his love and is cold all day long. Orochimaru has become the person he wanted to be, working hard for the position of Hokage. Thinking of Orochimaru's cruel and bloody look when he killed the enemy on the battlefield. Alas. Jiraiya shook his head. So, the bathhouse is still the best. It's warm, stylish, and there are young ladies. What are you waiting for? Let's go. Noon, 12:21. Konoha Hospital. I'm telling you, nurse sister, you don't know how dangerous it was. Oh. Tell me about it? The nurse sister smiled and helped Obito pull out the fourth and the needle. Obito was narrating his heroic experience with great excitement. That guy was carrying a machete and he chopped at us. Kakashi went to get the lunch and overestimated his own abilities, so he was kicked away. And then Iki, the tall and thin guy who sent us to the hospital, was scared silly on the spot. At that time, the machete almost hit Iki's neck. It was me who kicked him away and then fought with him for 3 rounds. Look at the scar on my face. I tell you, sister, that guy was worse off than me. Obito's pretend beating was interrupted on the spot. The person who interrupted him was the one who had just come in to eat and was kicked away in his mouth. The tall man who was frightened stood at the door and looked at him with a smile. Hurry up and eat. You were carried here. You are really embarrassed. Kakashi was speechless. The nurse next to him also covered her face and laughed softly, and Obito's expression suddenly became extremely embarrassed. Eat. Imma. It smells so good. Obito buried his head and ate his food like crazy. The nurse found Yingshu. They are fine now. We can go out and play after dinner. Well, thank you, nurse sister. Iki thanked and then lowered his voice. He has a scar on his face. Is it really? There is no way. Obito still has a scar on his face, but it is not that deep. It feels a little shallower than Kakashi in the previous time and space. You know what? He is a little handsome. In the past, Obito looked silly, but now with a scar, he has a little more fierceness and looks more reliable. You've already done it. In fact, with open wounds like that, no one can completely heal them directly except that adult. Even if you send him directly to Konoha Hospital, the result will not be better than it is now. After the nurse finished speaking, she rubbed Ika's head again. The feeling. TSK, there's a reason why Kumi loves this action. Iki was a little melancholy. He knew who the adult the nurse was talking about. Anyone who has watched Naruto would know. But the key point is that he doesn't want to be a medical ninja. I really don't know what's in Sarutobi Hirozen's mind. He's just being polite, but do you take it seriously? He wants to be a hydrogen ninja bomber. He wants his Susanoo statue. He wants to go the confrontation route. But it's not a big problem. The current trainee should be in the buried love and sealed heart period, so it's unlikely that he will accept disciples. Although the yin seal is very tempting, the immortal technique is also tempting. But now, what Yingshu wants most is to research the results of combining chakras of various attributes. He is very busy, and he has to create ninjutsu and blood inherited limits every minute. What kind of medical ninja is he? Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. Chapter 111, Burial of Love. After returning to Konoha, Tsunayoshi became extremely depressed. She was born and raised in Konoha. She was very familiar with every street and every corner of Konoha. Konoha was her home. But this home. She had saved a Konoha ninja who was in danger on the battlefield a few days ago. At that time, the life of the Konoha ninja was like a candle in the wind, and it felt like he would die at any time. That was also the first time Tsunayoshi discovered that no matter how skilled a medical ninja's medical skills were, the patient still needed a strong desire to survive. She asked the Konoha ninja what made him survive. The answer was a photo, a man, a woman, and a fat boy. That was her family. Home is where there are family. Her home was in Konoha, but her family was gone. Relatives, lovers, clansmen, all disappeared because of the war. Because Konoha. Atsuna was on her way to the casino. She didn't go home because she was afraid of the road that would lead her back to the empty house alone from the casino. She needed to vent, to divert her attention, and the casino was a good place. Atsuna liked the excitement before getting a definite answer. Of course, diverting attention doesn't necessarily mean going to gamble. For example, a sneaky figure had been following her since she stepped into Konoha. Atsuna stopped in a small alley. Crossing one more street, there is the casino. Whether you want an autograph or you want to die, come out quickly. I'm in a hurry. Tsunade's voice was so cold. In Konoha, there are only two kinds of people who dare to follow her. The former gives autographs, and the latter punches. Sir Tsunade. Sir Sandame, I want to see you. She is an Anbu, a female Anbu, and Tsunade is ruthless. No. Tsunade's answer was very straightforward, and she turned around on the spot without any hesitation. Tell the old man that when he dies, I will send him a flower. The Hokage's office. Sarutobi Hiruzen closed the crystal ball, and his face was embarrassed. He glanced at the disciple in front of him. Orochimaru was also looking at him, with a half smile on his face, which made the Sandame look a little embarrassed. Is she still the same? Is she the same with you? Yes. Orochimaru nodded. The death of Dan and Naoki, both of them was a big blow to her, you know. When Naoki was mentioned, Orochimaru's eyes darkened. But I don't know why. When he returned to Konoha and mentioned this name again, the first face that appeared in his mind was not just Naoki. Speaking of which, that little guy, what's his name? Oh, Iki. I just don't know what that little guy has grown up to be like. The scenes of that day seem to be still in front of him. Two brats who haven't even graduated from the first grade blow a genin into the hospital. Warm reminder, there are interesting functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. We can't go on like this. Sarutobi Hiruzen stroked his goatee, then took out a stack of information and handed it to Orochimaru. Orochimaru took it, but did not read it immediately. Instead, he asked the Sandame, don't you need to hear about the battle situation on the Tsunagakure front first, teacher? Tsunagakure is not doing well. We can talk about it in the next meeting. Sarutobi Hiruzen waved his hand. Compared to this, these three little guys are what give me the most headaches. Let's take a look. Orochimaru did as he was told, and he did not show any dissatisfaction. He had enough patience. When he opened the information, he saw a Uchiha boy. Orochimaru looked familiar, as if he had seen him somewhere. He remembered that it was that naughty child. You are now a Chunin. Orochimaru murmured in his heart, somewhat surprised. As for age, he is really too young. However, he was relieved of this surprise when he saw the second one. Tsukumo-kun's child. He knew that child was extremely talented. Even Naga could not stop praising him. This made Orochimaru relieved, and at the same time, he also became interested in the third set of information. Or rather, he had some expectations. Could the child from a civilian family also be in this team? Orochimaru was surprised. If it's that child, he's actually the captain of this team. The key. What the hell are the 4 words medical ninja in the ninja attribute column? And it's obviously just added. What's going on? How is it? Not bad. Anyone you like? Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. Looking at the three of them, it seems that he taught them all by himself. He was very proud. They are all good kids. Orochimaru's eyes stayed on the third file, but his tone was a little strange. But they are all Minato's disciples, right? You mean the mission that Minato needs to carry out recently is too dangerous? Sarutobi Hiruzen waved his hand. Although these 3 children are excellent, they are not enough to carry out missions above A level. In fact, in the current situation, even a B level mission is very likely to be accompanied by great risks. Take a look at this. Sarutobi Hiruzen took out another scroll. It recorded the post-war investigation of the so-called B level mission of Team 7. Including the first team, there were 8 dead Konoha ninjas, and they all died in terrible conditions. The bodies of Iwagakure and Kumogakure were found, more than 20, and all of them were charred. This. After Orochimaru flipped through it, the interest in his two snake eyes could no longer be hidden. Yes, the teacher said it lightly, and he could keep his face calm when he reviewed his battle record in the past 2 years. But after seeing this record, he could no longer be calm. The bodies of Kumogakure and Iwagakure were all charred. The first reaction of a normal person would be that it was caused by the powerful fire escape. But Orochimaru had seen that kid's that technique. So, have you found a way? Orochimaru murmured in his heart. But before he could say anything, Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke again. I plan to let the 3 of you take one each, so that Minato can be free and concentrate on the mission. Oh, that child of Iki is the captain of this team and a medical ninja. Orochimaru. Tsunade doesn't want to see me. How about you talk to him for me? Orochimaru was stunned. At this moment, he thought of a lot. But the answers he said would never disappoint Sarutobi Hiruzen. I can try. Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, reading background color in the upper right corner of the page chapter 112 next time. Hey, this is the bounty for both of you, a total of 200,000, 70,000 for each of you, and we will make up for it later. When they came to a crossroads, Iki divided the bounty. Because the bounty had not been fully distributed, Iki was generous for once. After all, he was still the captain. Well, then I'll go back to the clan first. It seems that there will be a party in the clan tonight. Obito said as he was about to return to the Uchiha clan. Obito actually had a secret in his heart. After becoming a chunin, the Uchiha clan basically had to report to the Konoha guard department, and some slightly older genin would also report. Unless they joined the Root or Anbu. It's just that he doesn't seem to be old enough, but judging from the clan leader's words, it doesn't seem to be a big problem. He can be a non-staff member, get used to the process, and then perform the tasks before reaching the age requirement. Obito smiled slightly. He, Uchiha Obito, the core figure of Team 7, will soon become a glorious Konoha guard ninja. That is the honor that the entire Uchiha yearns for. So, please call me Lord Obito when we meet in the future. I'll go back first. My father is not here, and my house can't be empty. Kakashi also waved his hand. By the way, Iki, if Master's wife wants to do any special training, call me. Kakashi also has a secret in his heart. He always feels that he is in a rather embarrassing situation now. Obito has opened his eyes with two Magatama Sharingan. In terms of strength, he can no longer be compared with the last one in the past. And this guy Hideki. This guy seems to have no shortcomings. He is good at physical skills and ninjutsu, and his brain is also good. Kakashi thinks that this is most likely the result of being raped by his master. And his swordsmanship has reached a bottleneck for the time being. Father said that you should do what you should do at your age. It refers to the practice of swordsmanship. Swordsmanship can be learned continuously and become more and more sophisticated, but physical fitness needs to be improved slowly. If I could be faster this time, this guy Obito should. Kakashi felt a little depressed. Just practicing swordsmanship can no longer satisfy him. This team is improving too fast, and he has to find other ways. No problem, let's go first, and I'll let you know if there's anything later. Yingshu, the captain, said. He can see these two guys are hiding something in their hearts. He also roughly knows what it is, but he doesn't want to point it out. After all, who doesn't have some little tricks in their hearts? The Sandaime is planning to train him to be a medical ninja. It's ridiculous. Pervert. Quick. Catch that peeping maniac. The three little ones were about to go home, but suddenly at this moment, a scream not far away attracted the attention of the three. They saw a wolf-like figure rushing towards them, and there were all kinds of basins, soaps, brushes, and towels flying all over the sky behind him. This is... Iki narrowed his eyes. The figure was very burly, with iconic white hair and red lines on his face. Iki recognized the man's identity at the first moment. SSR Jiraiya. The explosion rate in Konoha bathhouse is very high. Iki then realized that he had overlooked a problem. The Sandaime wanted him to become a disciple of Tsunade, but if Tsunade came back, Jiraiya and Orochimaru would also come back. The three ninjas during this period were not the 1+1+1 ninjas that would appear in the future. Jiraiya once traveled around the ninja world, Tsunade once left Konoha, and Orochimaru once defected. These situations may appear in the next few years, and even signs have begun to appear, but for now, the three ninjas are still serving Konoha. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. No wonder Minato is not in Konoha every day. Is he trying to overtake others? When it comes to the three ninjas, the first person that Iki thinks of is not Jiraiya Tsuna, but Orochimaru. Speaking of which, Orochimaru is still competing for the position of Hokage. but Iki always feels that the candidate for the 4th generation seems to have been decided long ago. I feel sorry for Orochimaru for a second. However, just when Iki was thinking about it, Obito beside him had already rolled up his sleeves. Damn it. You are the first person that Master Obito has ever seen who dares to peek into the women's bath in broad daylight in my Konoha. On behalf of the Konoha Guard, I announce that you are under arrest. Obito got into the role quickly. He stood in horse stance with his hands spread out, ready to stop the white-haired peeping maniac who was rushing over here. But he overlooked a problem. He is now a little over 1 meter tall, and once he stands in horse stance, he will be more than 1 meter tall. And in front of him is a strong man who is 191.2 centimeters tall, and in a sprinting state. Under the gaze of Iki, Jiraiya jumped lightly, and he actually stepped on Obito's head, and broke through Obito's blockade. Next time. I will definitely do it next time. Jiraiya, who was in a playful mood, did not forget to boast before leaving. But in Obito's eyes, it was not that simple. This was a mockery, a provocation, and a declaration of war against Uchiha Angayeo. Damn it. Stop, Master Obito. Obito rushed forward with a roar. He vowed to take down this peeping maniac. Kakashi and Iki looked at each other. Both of them were a little helpless, but still kept up with Obito's pace. Iki knew Jiraiya's identity, and Kakashi roughly judged it. White hair, bathhouse, peeping, isn't it obvious? The popularity of the 3 ninjas in Konoha is still very high. Only a jerk like Obito would not recognize it. So, under the scorching sun, such a scene appeared on the streets of Konoha. A disheveled middle-aged man ran all the way, and 3 young guys were chasing him closely. Behind all this, is it the corruption of morality or the distortion of human nature? Question mark? Kakashi began to speed up. After all, he was a professional in hand-to-hand combat. He soon surpassed Obito, and was about to catch up with Jiraiya. But what surprised Kakashi was Iki. He didn't pull him far. When did this guy? Kakashi was not convinced, and sped up again. Iki felt a little secretly happy. The feeling of freely controlling chakra and limbs was so exciting. In the past, he believed that great strength can create miracles, of course, without wasting chakra. This led to him calculating the amount of chakra all the time, just to save as much as possible. But now, no need. After awakening the Sharingan, his chakra control has reached a new level. Ninjas rely on chakra for their livelihood. The more sophisticated the chakra control is in physical techniques, ninjutsu, and jinjutsu, the further one can go. Of course, quantity can replace quality, but from this perspective, being a medical ninja might not be bad. Bullshit. Yingshu speeded up. How can he be a medical ninja when he is going to fight? Question mark? Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Chapter 113 More money. Hey? Jiraiya had already run 2 blocks. According to his years of experience, no one should be able to catch up with him after running so far. But something strange happened today. The 3 little brats were chasing him relentlessly. Their speed was not slow, but their brains were also useless. He even saw through the transformation of that black-haired little boy twice. Interesting. The kids in Konoha are all very energetic now. Jiraiya became more interested. He no longer aimed to get rid of them, but ran all the way to the nearest training ground. Of course. Although Jiraiya accepted many disciples, and was the type who liked to promote the younger generation, he was obviously not the same type as Jiga. Jiraiya's nature is to be a reckless person. Reckless means being a hero, being generous. Reckless means really being reckless. Bullying little friends is fun. Ha 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 ha. The more Jiraiya thought about it, the more exciting it became. He stopped at a street corner, turned around and made a face at the 3 kids. Iki, who was in the front, was stunned. I thought Jiraiya, who was leading Naruto to have fun, was already out of tune enough, but he didn't expect that he was even more outrageous when he was young. How could I bear this? But, in a flash, a spiral water ball was formed in Iki's hand in an instant. It didn't have any yang escape, but it had lightning escape. Take my shot. Iki threw it without saying a word. Jiraiya raised his eyebrows, twisted his legs to the left, and dodged in a very seductive manner. AI didn't hit you, Lulu. Hey 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 hey. Ichi's ninjutsu always emphasizes practicality. The water ball is not used to hit people, but to use lightning chakra to shock people after it explodes. Ichi calls this move pseudo Arashi release thunderwater cannonball type 1. Ichi, who has all 5 attributes and has mastered the microscopic reaction of chakra, theoretically has mastered all the possibilities of ninjutsu below the bloodline limit, bloodline elimination. This is Ichi's next goal. Before these goals, Iki needs to be completely familiar with the method of mixing each chakra, which is the so-called pseudo-blood limit, and know it by heart. For example, this thunder and water cannon. Lightning escape plus water escape is not a combination of ninjutsu, but from a microscopic reaction. It takes into account the controllability of water escape and the conduction and output of lightning escape. In theory, it is Arashi escape. Artificial Arashi escape. It's just that the power is weaker than Arashi escape, but Iki also knows it in his heart. He has just mastered it not long ago, and has not had time to do any research. And he didn't aim to take down Jiraiya, just to vent his anger. Jiraiya, who was careless, was indeed electrocuted. At this time, Kakashi, who was following closely behind Iki, also died. Looking at Jiraiya, who seemed to be dancing, Kakashi was stunned for a moment, then looked at Iki. What happened? A small invention recently. Oh shit. He ran away. Before Iki had time to show off, Jiraiya's figure ran away again. Damn. Chase him. Iki gritted his teeth and immediately chased him again. He was a little excited. Kakashi took a breath and followed closely behind. Not long after the two set off again, Obito caught up. He glanced at the two companions in front, who were chasing him closely, and then looked at the bastard in the distance. When the Sharingan opened, Obito's IQ increased crazily. Starting from here, go forward, only 2 streets. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will cause your reading progress to disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. Look at the direction he is going. Got it. Training ground number 4. Holmes came online. He glanced coldly at the white-haired bastard and then smiled coldly. You can't escape the palm of justice. Big 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 big. 1, 2, 3, 6 o'clock. Ah. Seeing the money he earned at the gambling table being taken away, his hands were shaking because of his luck. According to the past, she would of course choose to continue fighting. She will never leave until the casino closes. In fact, Tsunayoshi is planning to do so now. Someone. Give me another 2 million Ryo. Put it on the Hokage's head. In Konoha, no one else dares to say this except Tsunayoshi. Here. Please wait a moment, Lord Tsunayoshi. The casino waiter's face was filled with a warm smile. He was lucky today. The drawer alone might be enough to cover half of his salary. No. I have to find a way to stay here and work overtime later. This opportunity is hard to come by. Maybe Zen wants a 3-bedroom 1 living room house and she can save enough today. The waiter ran to find the boss. But after running only 2 steps, he accidentally bumped into another customer. Sorry. The waiter said humbly, but in his heart he was cursing. Who is so blind that he could hinder him from making money? But he looked up. Ah. Lord Orochimaru. I'm so sorry. No, I came to take her away. Orochimaru's mouth curled slightly, and the lethality of this smile was not much lower than that of Minato's smile. Orochimaru glanced at Suna and asked, how much money does she owe now? Lord Suna is not very lucky today. He has already lost 6 million taels. Orochimaru, who was about to take out his pocket, twitched his mouth. What should I do if I suddenly feel my hand is a little heavy? Forget it if you don't have money. At this time, Tsuna's voice rang out faintly. Orochimaru looked over and found that Tsuna was looking at him with his head supported by one hand, with a mocking look on his face. I'm spending the old man's money. Why? Feel bad? A little bit. Orochimaru finally took out most of the money on him. If you dare to come to the casino to pick up Tsuna, you must bring 10 million Ryo at the beginning. Of course, this money is worth it in Orochimaru's eyes. Okay. Tsuna raised his eyebrows. Let's go then. Let's go. The two left the casino immediately, leaving behind the crying waitress and the distressed boss. As soon as she walked out of the door, Tsuna went straight to another place where she could relieve stress, the bar. Orochimaru naturally followed behind her calmly. It was not the first time he asked Tsuna for help, nor was it the first time he asked Tsuna for help. This was a tacit understanding between the three ninjas. If you want Tsuna to help, you have to pay. The two came to the bar, and when the boss served the wine, Orochimaru slowly spoke. Teacher wants us to train a Minato disciple each, and asked me to come and tell you. I know. Tsuna raised his head, and drank the wine in the glass. Then, he looked at Orochimaru with a mocking look again. Now you have become like this, Orochimaru. Why didn't I realize before that you are not only cold-blooded, but also so vain? This is not why I came to you. I hope you refuse. Orochimaru smiled. Hypocrisy. Tsuna was stunned. Obviously, she didn't expect what Orochimaru said. Of course, she was too lazy to think about it. After staring at Orochimaru for a while, she pursed her lips. Okay, but I have conditions. I've already paid. That's for me to listen to you, not for helping you. If you want me to help you, it's not impossible. The outliner drank another glass of wine. You have to pay more. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book by searching the title, you can try searching the author. Maybe the name has just changed. Chapter 114 Jiraiya spins in circles. Bang. Tsuna was struggling with Orochimaru, while Iki and Kakashi were already facing Jiraiya. It was customary in the ninja world that at the beginning of a battle, there would be physical tests. In the severely introverted Team 7, there were rules for physical combat against the enemy. Obito was always the first to rush forward, and then Kakashi and Iki would judge the approximate strength of the enemy, based on the extent to which Obito was beaten or beat others. But now Obito has not caught up yet, and the two can only cooperate with each other. Iki was responsible for the main attack. He punched with a quarter of the super strength with great force. Real super strength requires accumulation of power, and Iki can't release it immediately, but he can accumulate it a little bit. Chakra manipulation is not only for delicate work, but also for faster movement. Otherwise, why can't Uchiha quickly form hand seals and cast ninjutsu? It can't be, because he consumes less mana, right? Physical attacks and instant body movements all rely on chakra manipulation. Yingshu tried it last night. If he opened his Sharingan to practice physical techniques, he would have to become a little Superman. This is why Kakashi felt that Yingshu suddenly exploded today. No, I've never seen this guy so powerful before. Question mark? Why is Obito doing that? Something's wrong. What are you two hiding from me? Kakashi seemed to have discovered something, but the movements of his hands were not slow at all. Close combat is his specialty. Kakashi has a strong desire to show off, and his Hatake sword technique is very impressive. The two of them worked together and stunned Jiraiya. Are all the little brats so strong nowadays? Question mark? Or is it just that they look younger? Something is wrong. Honestly, Jiraiya only needs to be a little more serious and call out a big toad, and the situation will immediately turn around. Jiraiya is indeed as thick-skinned as a 1,000-mile earth wall. But after all, he just wanted to bully a kid. There was no need to be so excessive. Jiraiya dodged Kakashi's short sword for the 39th time, and suddenly found that Kakashi used the sword as a kunai, and shot it at him. Is this a stunt? Jiraiya raised his eyebrows. But, with the strength of this sage, I only need to give it a pinch. Jiraiya wanted to pretend to dodge very narrowly, to satisfy the self-esteem of the younger generation. But he found out from the corner of his eye that the black-haired boy was hiding behind him. This is actually a bad cooperation. Damn it, you don't take this sage seriously, little brat. Jiraiya was a little angry. Before he could finish his words, Jiraiya had obviously dodged the attack, but relying on his long arms, he stretched out his head and tried to intercept it with the short knife. Damn. Iki was also stunned. Can you play like this? To be honest, Iki felt that the cooperation just now was quite handsome. There was such a classic shot in the movie version of Naruto vs. Momoshiki. He and Kakashi cooperated inadvertently. Although it seemed quite normal, it still made Iki a little excited. It's decided. This one. Otsutsuki is pretending. Then what are you laughing at? Senju plus Uchiha does not mean Otsutsuki. The short sword was only 1 inch away from Jiraiya's hand. It was about the same distance from Ikki's little hand. The two of them held the short sword almost at the same time. Ikki was a little faster and held the handle first, while Jiraiya held Ikki's little hand together and held it firmly. Can Ikki endure it? The other hand followed up, although it could only cover half of Jiraiya's big hand, but 2 hands are always stronger than 1 hand. Can Jiraiya endure it? As if he couldn't. Little brat, I'll let you use 1 hand, what else can you do? Woo 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 woo. Warm reminder, if you can't find it by searching the title, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Ikki finally met someone who is willing to compete with him in strength. Senju's power, Otsutsuki's power, explode. Chakra rushed into Ikki's 2 arms crazily, and this process only took less than 2 seconds. Jiraiya only felt that something was wrong with his hands. This little brat, he is so strong. After that, Ikki actually lifted up with Jiraiya. At this moment, in Ikki's mind, were the Hulk and Loki, Bakuzen and the water dragon. When you get strong, it's really easy to be carried away. But Ikki still gave Jiraiya face. Use your hands to exert force, keep your legs steady, and adjust your body with your waist. Ikki pulled Jiraiya. Come on, let's spin in circles together Jiraiya. Ikki was spinning happily. At this time, a certain Uchiha genius finally arrived. Loek thought it was a shortcut, but ended up being 5 minutes late. Hayek, it's better to come early than early. Ikki. Obito panted and called out to Ikki who was spinning in circles. Ikki understood immediately and threw Jiraiya directly to Obito's side. Catch the ball. Obito curled his lips slightly and opened his Sharingan. He wanted to step on this bastard's head accurately. However, everyone seemed to underestimate Jiraiya. This is the first of the 3 ninjas. This is the Toad Sage of Mount Mayaboku. Perhaps his obscene and playful personality makes him look a little incompatible with his own name. But after all, the Jiraiya in front of them is not the ninja standing in front of the enemy. That mad ghost. Jiraiya was seen in midair, his wooden clogs hitting each other, when Obito jumped high and his natural kick was not in place. I won't play with you anymore, you little brats. Jiraiya simply used a substitution technique and disappeared. This scene stunned Ikki and Kakashi. And Obito, who was pretending to be on the scene, also overturned again. At the same time, Atsuna was holding 4 million Ryo in his hand and holding a large pot of sake, walking on the way home. She was not interested today because of Orochimaru's interference. Accepting a disciple. Giving up accepting a disciple. No point. She could probably guess what Orochimaru's purpose was. He just wanted to follow the master's wishes and get closer to that position. A man like him would not really look at any youngster, except rope. Gulp, another mouthful of sake went down her throat, and Suna became more and more annoyed. She even had the thought of rushing back to the casino. Suna staggered and walked into an alley. But just at this moment, a figure appeared in the shadows. Suna thought it was another Anbu, and frowned. Get out of here quickly, or I'll beat you to death. But this time, the figure did not show a respect for latitude like the previous female Anbu. Instead, she laughed, and the laughter sounded a little old. Older than the old man. I didn't expect you to come back. I'm relieved. In the shadows, an old figure walked out slowly, with a kind smile on his face, but he looked not so old. The old man hooked his finger. Come on, hit me. Tsuneyoshi. Warm reminder, the problem of saving bookshelves across devices for logged-in users has been corrected. If you still can't save, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the browser cookies, and then log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. Chapter 115, Self-Destructive Shadow Clone. 2 days later, in the morning, at 8:15, Konoha, number 3 training ground. Ikki is studying the combination of fire style and wine style. It is a bit difficult. Ikki has tried many methods, but he can't break through the limit of the combination. The upper limit is the combination ninjutsu, that is combined with the Rasengan as a template, the wind fire wheel high temperature cutting technique. First, use the wind style mini resent and Terrakan as the basis. Inject fire style chakra, and it can be used to fight the enemy at a medium distance, and it can also be used to ignite the hydrogen style resent and Terrakan. The power is good, but it can never achieve the effect of Scorch style. But he is not discouraged. Blood limit, so it is a blood limit. It must not be so easy to push out. Bloodstain elimination can be taken as the main topic, and it can be done slowly. Yingshu's current subject is about chakra compression. After mastering the microscopic reaction of chakra, Yingshu had a bold idea. He can't do hydrogen escape now, but he can make hydrogen escape chakra. Since it is chakra, then in principle, it can produce corresponding ninjutsu. And if he can produce enough hydrogen escape chakra, and make enough hydrogen shadow clones, self-destructing shadow clones are involved. And there is no need to consider the problem of pain. Just like the lightning release shadow clone would release shadow clone, etc. When the shadow clone dissipates, what remains is the chakra of that attribute. In the original space, Kakashi once used the lightning release shadow clone to fight against pain in a tactic. What he lacked in strength, he made up for it with intelligence. It was a 50-50 match. Yingshu thought that he should be able to do it too. But the problem now is that the hydrogen release chakra he created is a product of qualitative change. It can explode, but it lacks a bit of quality to create shadow clone. This is the reason why Yingshu has never been able to create hydrogen release shadow clone directly, and he discovered this after opening the Sharingan. Yingshu was thinking about it. When he mastered chakra compression, hydrogen escape could be used as a regular weapon in the future. Yingshu began to operate. Yingshu turned the backs of his hands upwards, and then turned them over, and like a magic trick, 2 transparent hydrogen balloons appeared. This trick is definitely useful for amusing children. He was going to start with the all-purpose ninjutsu, Rasengan. But before Yingshu could make the next move, a figure rushed over and interrupted the birth process of an SSS level ninjutsu. That figure was running towards Yingshu. It was an Anbu. Chunin Iki, the Hokage has ordered. Yes. Iki showed the admiration and excitement that a child should have. Well, the tone of the Anbu was no longer so cold. Please gather at Konoha number 3 training ground before 9:30. The Anbu said, feeling that something was wrong. Senior, I'm here. Iki took a step on the spot. He was at the number 3 training ground now. He had been training here every day for several years. There was no other reason, just to see if he could accidentally meet the old man and inherit his property. Anyway, you have to be here at 9:30. You have mission. After the Anbu finished speaking, his figure disappeared immediately. Yingshu felt quite happy. His mood was also inexplicably better. He had a hunch that the development of chakra compression and self-destructing shadow clones would be realized soon. This should have been Minato and Kushina's job, but Minato was not here, and Kushina took action. Anyway, I'll leave it to you later, everyone. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. I hope to see the children who go all out. There is no one in the whole Konoha who can do this. Apart from you, Inoshika-Chow, I really can't think of a better candidate. Yes. 9:15, Hokage's office. 3 men of different colors, but with the same earrings nodded in response. They are the black-haired Narushikaku, the yellow-haired Yamanaka Inoichi, and the red-haired XXXL Akimichikaza. They are also the Inoshika-Cho combination of this generation. After receiving the order, Inoshika-Cho immediately disappeared and prepared to go. But at this time, a lazy voice sounded. Don't be so troublesome, old man. I already have a disciple. Really? It's really tiring to teach such an excellent disciple like Minato. Just give me some personal space, okay? Isn't it Jiraiya? Sarutobi Hiruzen chose to ignore Jiraiya's fart. He rubbed the crystal ball, and soon the figure of Tsuna appeared in it. This instantly aroused the interest of Jiraiya, who was complaining on the side. So, old man, you are very brave today. In the picture, Tsuneuki was sitting at home. Well, sitting at home, doing nothing, just sitting there, angry. Alas, this kid still hasn't come out. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed when he saw this. Jiraiya didn't say anything, just stared at Tsunayoki. The angle of the crystal ball was from top to bottom, and the scenery was really good. But Jiraiya didn't have the heart to appreciate the scenery. The old man would sigh, and he would not feel good in his heart. But Jiraiya found that in front of Tsunayoki, there was a small box lying. What was engraved on it seemed to be the emblem of the Senju clan. But before Jiraiya could see it clearly, in the picture, Atsuna suddenly raised his head, his eyes were cold, and he raised his fist. Snap, the picture in the crystal ball disappeared. Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly closed it, and the master and disciple looked at each other, both a little panicked. It's over. Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled. Jiraiya retreated silently. This matter had nothing to do with him. He hadn't been to the Hokage's office today, but he just moved to the door of the office. Dang dang, teacher, you are looking for me. The voice was low and sexy, hoarse and charming. It was Orochimaru, the hot candidate to succeed the next Hokage. Well, it's about to start, Orochimaru. Let's take a look together. Orochimaru smiled slightly. Ignoring Jiraiya, he went straight to the Hokage's desk. Sarutobi Hiruzen reopened the crystal ball. In the screen, the 3 members of Team 7 were already in position. Yo. Jiraiya, who was ignored, came up temporarily. Orochimaru, you are not thinking. Oh my god. Why are they these 3 nasty brats? Jiraiya took a closer look, and the ones in the crystal ball were the 3 brats who chased him for 3 blocks and almost made him vomit. Especially the black-haired boy in the middle. You are so strong. You must beat Tsuna's relative. Don't say. At this moment, Atsuna, who was sitting at home, stared straight at the scroll in front of him. His eyes became more and more complicated. I have a younger brother? Warm reminder, if you can't find it by searching the book title, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116 Pig, Deer, and Butterfly. Iki was somewhat surprised when he saw the contemporary Inoshika-cha in front of him. He already knew about the mission at 9:30. The Sandaime wanted to test the strength of Team 7. The specific reason was unknown. But it didn't matter. It was a good opportunity to prove his strength against the road ninjas. And a medical ninja. And a powerful medical ninja. What can that thing do? Show your magnanimity? Absurd. However, even if he was unhappy, Iki still attached great importance to the Inoshika-cha trio. Iki was also surprised that the Inoshika-cha was used to test the strength of Team 7. The Inoshika-cha is a combination that has always been underestimated. Just like the blood limit and combined ninjutsu. Although this group is not a blood family and is not as famous as the Uchiha Senju or even the Hyuga clan. But the name of Inoshika-cha is no joke. It is said that when Konoha was first established, many ninjas joined this group. It can be considered alternative, raising the word civilian ninja to the extreme. Iki has also read Shippuden. In the episodes before the finale, Yamanaka Keiichi and Nera Shikaku, although the two did not participate in the frontal battlefield, their role was extremely large. One can command the entire battlefield, and when Kakashi succeeded as the 6th Hokage, Shikaku, as a decision maker, gave a vote. One is even more outrageous, a little smart who connects everyone. Not to mention a Kimichi Choza. Just based on the size, Iki feels that they have crushed Team 7. Such a combination of control, interference, and destruction. To some extent, it is perfect. But Iki thinks Team 7 is not bad either. Obito, at least he has 2 Magatama, and he is also good at fire escape and illusion. Kakashi, takes fire escape is already domineering, and under the influence of Iki, he has become a little more agile, which is also pretty good. In addition, he is a perfect ninja with all 7 escapes and a huge amount of chakra. Facing Inoshika-cha who obviously won't use his full strength, it should be no problem for him to fight with style. So, have you thought of a tactic, Iki? Kakashi asked. Obito also looked over eagerly. Nonsense, that's Inoshika-cha. Although it's estimated that she can't beat the master's wife, Yingshu was stunned and was so focused on his lofty ambitions that he almost forgot about the tactics. But tactics? Yingshu glanced at Shikaku, who was not far away. Wouldn't it be a bit, what's wrong to use tactics in front of this guy? Yingshu has always had a clear understanding of his own positioning. He has no golden fingers, no protagonist halo, and can't talk about his thousand hands buff, nor can he show his Sharingan. His IQ is at best above average, which can be considered smart, but not a monster. Facing Inoshika-Chow, he really couldn't think of any way to win with one blow. After all, they are from the same village, and he can't kill her with his own shadow clone, right? Minato, what about my hair? Iki, please continue to beat your soy sauce. But here comes the question. This battle is not for the purpose of winning or losing. He does not need to enter the Otsutsuki mode, and Inoshika-Chow will not kill him. This battle, at best, is just an exhibition match for Sarutobi Hiruzen. Thinking of this, Iki raised his eyebrows. Guys, I have a tactic. This time it's called multifaceted, multi-layered covering attack. I need your cooperation. Ah, they're discussing tactics. They're serious. Shikaku. Akimichi Choza stuffed a handful of potato chips into his mouth. What should I do? I'm a little panicked. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf to prevent you from losing the novel you are reading. After all, the opponent is us, Kazuo. Yamanaka Inoichi smiled. Trouble. Narushikaku said the lines passed down from his ancestors. We have to worry about not hurting them, but we also have to let them use their full strength. I can't understand. Why is it us? Is it to prepare for the promotion to Jonin in the future? Or, smart people often think too much. There is a reason why the Nara clan's hairline is generally receding. But after all, Narushikaku still gave some tactics, which is their habit. Heichi-san, let's leave that Uchiha kid alone. He might use illusion as a feint. Hey, fatty, I'll leave that boy named Iki to you. He is very strong, just the type you like. I like slim ones. Anyway, let me keep an eye on Lord Tsukumo's kids. I'll try to put some pressure on them and make them work harder. Oh, it's a problem. Narushikaku was helpless, but he still solved the tactical problem in a few words. On the other hand, Team 7. Because of Obito's origin, it often takes some time to talk about tactics. And finally, both sides were ready and moved to the center of the training ground. Team 7 did not say hello to their seniors. They had already entered the battle mode. Especially Obito, who was in the center position. An Anbu appeared between Team 7 and Inoshika-Chow. Begin. The Anbu's body turned into a puff of smoke. Kill. Obito's two Magatama flashed, picked up a kunai and rushed out. Charge along the line. Narushikaku sighed, glanced at Yamanaka Inoichi next to him, and found that his partner's eyes were also a little helpless. If this was really on the battlefield, Obito's current body would have belonged to Yamanaka Inoichi. Inoshika-Chow, the pig, is all about the frontline charge, but the one charging is not a person, but a mountain secret technique. Let me do it. Narushikaku shook his head and made a seal seemingly perfunctorily. Ninjutsu shadow fighting. Fire style great fireball technique. Just as Narushikaku was making a seal, Obito's hands suddenly turned into afterimages. He has practiced this great fireball technique thousands of times. Are you targeting me? The heat wave came, and Shikaku could only retreat temporarily. The retreat of Inoshika-Chow is also a science. The three of them are one body, and the distance between each other is always kept within a controllable range. It is to prevent someone from trying to defeat them one by one. For example, Kakashi, who has already flashed to where Shikaku is. How fast? Shikaku was slightly surprised. But Kakashi didn't buy it. You're just too perfunctory, senior. Ping, kunai and short sword collided. Shikaku was about to say something. Chatting with the enemy during the battle is a habit of the Nara clan. It's not because they are naturally talkative, but they are used to analyzing the enemy's every move. So, your tactics are to trade you for me? Of course not. Kakashi chopped again with great force, and then retreated suddenly. I'm just, symbolically, buying some time. During the retreat, Kakashi had already retracted the sword, and when he landed, Obito and the 3 Ikki were already ready. The 3 little ones smiled slightly, and then formed seals with their hands frantically. Seeing this scene, Shikaku's eyes froze, and Sarutobi Hiruzenko in front of the crystal bowl trembled, and almost pulled out a few strands of his beard. Massacre? In the crystal bowl, the childish voices of the 3 little ones were heard. Kyuden, daily and no jutsu. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title by searching, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Chapter 117, The Underestimated Yingshu. The Great Chain Bullet Technique. It has a wide range, great power, is simple and crude, and has an amazing visual effect. Ninjutsu emphasizes the restraint and coordination of different attributes. If all the techniques of all attributes are thrown at you at once, run. Unless your name is Sarutobi Hiruzen. Or, your name is Otsutsuki Ikki. Obito, I won't run. Once the Kambu is released, I will bury my heart and seal my love. Lol lol. To be honest, the difficulty of this ninjutsu does not lie in how to release it. It lies in how to collect this attribute. The reason why the Great Chain Bullet technique is so awesome is largely because it was performed by Sarutobi Hiruzen alone, and the visual effect plus emotional bonus makes it look very cool. Now, when Team 7 used it, the effect was almost the same. 3 Ikki, Kakashi, and Obito, water, wind, earth, thunder, and fire all sprayed forward. This is called fire coverage. These little brats are too chaotic. To the left, retreat quickly. Shikaku exclaimed, and at that moment he had already begun to retreat. How could he block such an attack? Shikacho retreated madly. Fortunately, the people of Team 7 did not spread out and attack one direction at multiple points, but concentrated their positions to carry out fire coverage. The coverage area was very wide, and it also dispersed some of the power. This is also the result of Ikki's reason and plan. After all, if he was aiming for killing power, he could have chosen to use shadow clones to explode close to him. Shikaku also discovered this. Although the speed of retreat was not as fast as the speed of the ninjutsu explosion, Shikacho Ino still managed to rush to the place where the power of this jutsu was relatively weak. Fatty. Here he comes. Ninjutsu Super. Double Jutsu. A giant appeared. XXXXXXXXL Kimichigaza swung his iron rod and kept spinning. He had to face the wind bombs and water bombs from the 2 Ikkis. Shikaku and Yamanaka Inoichi retreated madly to the other side under the cover of a Kimichigaza. It is true that a Kimichigaza is tough and strong, and he can resist for a while in the giant form, but after all, it is a competition between ninjutsu and the body, and it would be too much of a loss to take it head on. Suffering a loss is not the style of Shikacho. Hey Ichi-kun, hold down that Uchiha brat for a while, and leave the rest to me. Shikaku began to make seals with both hands. In his opinion, Ikki used 3 shadow clones and 3 jutsu alone, and the chakra consumption was estimated to be almost enough. It must be said that this child from a civilian family is definitely promising. His calm mind and courage to go all out are what Shikaku admires. If possible, he wants to take this child under the command of the Nera family and train him carefully. This is not a trouble. After all, he is the boy that the Hokage has high hopes for. However, Shikaku admired him, but still locked onto Kakashi and calculated Kakashi's position and the time required for the shadow control technique. Yes, Ikki's chakra is almost gone. Kakashi only used 1 lightning release, and he is a child personally trained by Lord Whitefang, so he must be more dangerous than Ikki. This wave of analysis is very rational. The only flaw is that he misjudged Ikki. There are 2 mistakes. One is identity. The retreat of the Senju clan is equivalent to voluntarily leaving the once strongest clan and committing suicide. The purpose is to preserve the remaining clan members and the remaining bloodline. Retirement is not something that can be done in a moment. One must be well prepared, and what is needed must be no less than what is needed to appear brilliantly. Therefore, Ikki's identity is very safe. The old man didn't even ask him to restrain his chakra and supernatural power, as long as he didn't tell anyone that he was from the Senju. It is conceivable how well prepared the Senju was for his retreat, both psychologically and in terms of the situation. If Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't find it, how could Narushikaku find it? The first mistake Narushikaku made was a wrong assessment of Ikki's age, which is scientifically called combat IQ or old man soul. Ikki really let it go. Again, this is an assessment, a show match, not a fight to the death. But this does not mean that Yingshu will take the initiative to let go, completely let go, and let himself suffer. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading records and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. What you can find are all the broken that I deliberately sold to you. Iron juice. Just when Narushikaku and Yamanaka Inoichi bypassed the cover of a Kimichi Choza and prepared to execute the dismemberment plan, a smoke bomb suddenly exploded in front of them. Not good. Narushikaku immediately realized that something was wrong. Are the members of Team 7, who were carrying out fire coverage, all shadow clones? Is the Dalian bomb just a feint? Narushikaku was only half right. It was indeed the two clones of Ikki who suppressed a Kimichi Choza. But at the moment when the 5 Essences Dalian bomb was released, at the moment when Inoshikacho decided to retreat, the body of Team 7 had already chosen to suspend ninjutsu. Everyone has already run away. What's the point of farting? The 3 of them just took a small step around, bypassed the 2 clones of Ikki, and then rushed forward directly. Everything was within Ikki's calculations. Obito's voice was heard outside the smoke, and he shouted loudly and sounded very excited. Fire style, great fireball, ninjutsu, heart-shaking body. At this moment, Inoshikacho's tactical qualities began to show. Putting everything aside, they are still Konoha's Jonin, and even if the Kimichi Choza is still in a defensive posture, Inoshika can cooperate. In the smoke, Yamanaka Inoichi shouted loudly, and without line of sight, he locked Obito with just the sound. And the speed of releasing the secret technique is obviously faster. Narushikaku rushed out of the smoke, and in a tumble, the seal on his hand was ready. Shadow stitching technique. Black beyond. HMM. When you started to retreat. Senior, you were so perfunctory. At this moment, Kakashi was standing behind Narushikaku. The short knife in his hand was already on Narushikaku's neck. At the same time, with a puff sound, the shadow clone dissipated, and Obito's calm voice sounded in the smoke. Earth style, heart decapitation technique. Heart decapitation can be used to dig holes, can be used to run away. It is a must-have for the old man. But don't forget that this is actually a serious earth style ninjutsu. The smoke dissipated, revealing Yamanaka Inoichi with a dark face, and Obito with scalded eyes. Very obvious. The one that Yamanaka Inoichi shot blindly was Obito's shadow clone. The real Obito had already gone for Yamanaka Inoichi's lower 3 roots. A multifaceted, diversified, and multi-layered covering attack. It's not just firepower coverage. The rhythm of the attack is the starting point. At this moment, Narushikaku was surprised. His technique was only one step away from being able to counter Kakashi. But there was no need. If Kakashi wanted, he would have already lost. Narushikaku had to admit that he did underestimate the enemy. Even when he wanted to use the secret technique to defeat the enemy, he didn't muster any spirit. A body full of chakra, a body full of secret techniques, and thousands of tactics in his mind. None of them were used, and the battle was over. If it happens again. Narushikaku looked at the young man. Is this all just luck, or is it all part of his plan, including his own carelessness? They actually dared to rush in front of him. At this moment, Ikki had no expression of sadness or joy. Compared with the previous fighting and dying between Team 7 and Kushina, now they have experienced the baptism of real life and death, and the immaturity of youth has faded a little. He stared straight at XXXL Kimichi Choza, who had recovered his normal size from the giant. Then, he showed off his biceps. Senior, we have already taken down both of your companions, so we won't bully you. How about we arm wrestle? 1 round to decide the winner. How about that? Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf to prevent you from losing the novel you are reading. Chapter 118 Yingshu, that child. I personally. What is Yingshu thinking? He is gifted, has more chakra, and is born with supernatural powers, so it's okay, right? Although if he is too high profile, it is very likely that people will associate him with the descendants of the Thousand Hands. But the association is the association, as long as he doesn't admit it. Can others find evidence? On the contrary, if he hides it, it will make people suspicious. Yingshu wants to expose and show more, so that people will not be so surprised after getting used to it. And he can also consider Zhu Lacho's face. I'm less than 8 years old. I have always felt that I'm strong, but I'm ignorant of the world. I still lost to you in arm wrestling, which is in line with my character. But in the eyes of everyone, including those on the scene, and in front of the crystal ball, wow, this kid is so arrogant. Sarutobi Hiruzen cut off the screen of the crystal ball. He looked up at his two disciples. You two, each pick one, and keep them by your side, and give them some pointers before Minato comes back. By the way, forget about that little Iki, I have other plans. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a puff of cigarette. Iki guessed right. He arranged this competition just to let his disciples get to know his great-grandchildren. Although they can't get to know each other completely, the battle ended faster than anyone thought. A big burst of bullets, plus a charge, and the battle was over. This kind of situation usually happens in teams with a big gap in strength. He arranged for Inoshikawa to prevent this kind of situation from happening. With Narushikaku's intelligence, if he let go of the water in a planned and strategic way, he could fully stimulate most of the potential of Team 7. As a result, the water was not let go, and it was all kept inside. It was a direct failure. However, although the luck score was a bit high, and Inoshikawa underestimated the enemy, but what Team 7 showed, Sarutobi Hiruzen was very satisfied. Especially the last wave of charge. It seemed to be smooth sailing, but in fact there were many things to do. They had to guard against Yamanaka Inoichi's secret technique, and Narushikaku's indiscriminate shadow control. If the author didn't want to increase the number of words, I'm afraid it would be 10 chapters. Orochimaru can't lead them? Although it's true that I have trained such an excellent disciple like Minato, you still need me to take time to teach them occasionally. I'm very busy to educate them. Jiraiya was devastated and scratched his head. Lead those 3 little brats. Are you crazy? They chased me and chopped me down a few streets 2 days ago. It would be embarrassing to meet them again. No. Sarutobi Hiruzen slammed his old face on the table. Minato has a promising future, but that's the children's own pride. How much does it have to do with you, a jerk? Take good care of them for me. When Minato comes back, you can do whatever you want. You're either in the bathhouse or the tavern all day, and you're still busy. I don't even want to point it out to you. Sarutobi Hiruzen was full of anger, and Jiraiya didn't dare to fart. Alas. It seems that the plan of traveling around the ninja world has to be advanced. I forgot to tell you, teacher. At this time, Orochimaru spoke appropriately. Atsuna. She has been a little depressed recently, and I'm afraid she doesn't want to put in the effort. I have an agreement with Tsukumo-kun, and I can definitely give some guidance to Kakashi. However, if it is Zao Yingshu, I'm willing to bring one more. Orochimaru's voice is hoarse and charming, and his smile is evil and friendly. Jiraiya next to him took the opportunity to say, Snake, why don't you consider bringing all 3 together? It's okay with me. I can give you some guidance occasionally, really. Jiraiya pointed at his big face. He wanted Orochimaru to see how sincere the expression on his face was at the moment. No. The one who spoke was not Orochimaru, who ignored Jiraiya, but Sarutobi Hiruzen. He took a puff of cigarette calmly, and under Orochimaru's questioning gaze, he slowly spoke. Kakashi can follow you, Orochimaru. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, and glared at Jiraiya, but Obito will be in your care, Jiraiya. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Take good care of him. That child is honest. Don't let me spoil him. Jiraiya, TT. It's over. I hope they have forgotten about me. Otherwise, it's embarrassing. Compared to Jiraiya, Orochimaru's performance was much calmer. Although he had doubts in his heart at this moment. Was the matter of 10 million Ryo discovered? Not really. Could it be that his relationship with Elder Danzo was exposed? It's even more impossible. Even if he is exposed, with the bad relationship between Elder Danzo and Tsukumo, there is no reason for the teacher not to let me take the two children. So, teacher, what are you thinking about? Orochimaru was full of doubts, but the fake smile on his face remained the same. Orochimaru of the original time and space began his own disguise after his disciple Naoki and close friend Tsukumo died one after another. Tsukumo is alive and well now, but some things will not change, such as ambition, nature, and dreams of youth. Orochimaru is still the young man who pursued the position of Hokage not for power, but only to master all the techniques. He has not changed at all. It's just that the current process does not seem to be so inhumane. Sarutobi Hiruzen observed his disciple with the corner of his eye. How much he hoped that Orochimaru would ask, "Teacher, what about the remaining child?" Even if Orochimaru directly asked, "I like that child's talent, give him to me, teacher," he would agree. But you chose another way. Orochimaru, do you know what the position of Hokage represents? You need to protect the entire village, treat every villager as your own family, and treat every child as your own flesh and blood. Instead of only seeing what you need and what you are interested in, and then giving the rest to Danzo. I'm very happy to get the support of the elders. But you are really not suitable to be Hokage now. It seems that the Hokage has arranged 3 more teenagers for his disciples to teach. Don't forget that this Hokage is about to abdicate. Isn't such an arrangement a test for the disciples? Anyway, you two should teach well. Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled a puff of smoke, but it looked like a sigh. Jiraiya, who is the most suitable to succeed the Hokage, is too uncompetitive. Tsunaoki, who is the most suitable to succeed the Hokage, only has temper and resentment. Orochimaru, who is the most suitable to succeed the Hokage, will only make him angry. So, as for Zhao Yingshu, let me, personally, bang. At this time, the door of the Hokage's office suddenly voluntarily opened. Tsunaoki retracted his feet and strode in. The whole office was silent. Tsuna ignored Jiraiya and Orochimaru, and even ignored Sarutobi Hiruzen. Under the confused eyes of the three, he went straight to the desk. His eyes quickly locked on a piece of information. Sure enough, it was from Team 7. Sure enough, the first one was a black-haired boy with an innocent smile on his face. Tsuna compared it with the photo in his memory. Black hair, big eyes, it's you. After confirming, Tsuna grabbed the information and slammed it in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. I want this child. It was Kushina who asked me to give her to her. If you have any opinions, let's have a fight. Warm reminder, to make it easier for everyone to choose books, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. Chapter 119 The Little Devil in My Heart. Tsuna scared the 3 big bosses in the Hokage's office. Ikki scared Inoshika-cho and Kakashi Obito. Ikki swore that he really only used 7.35% of his strength, and the remaining 2.65% was enough to open the Sharingan, but the chakra could not attack. But even with this, he still managed to defeat Akihabara Choza in seconds. In Ikki's understanding, arm wrestling is the highest expression of super strength. Tsuna had an arm wrestling match with the Sandai Mei. Both of them poured chakra into their wrists. To be honest, the Sandai Mei's biceps were so well trained that he couldn't beat Tsuna and had to cheat. Ikki wanted to laugh. A woman of Tsunamoto, who has neglected to exercise for many years, is being bullied by a macho man who trains his muscles every day. You can imagine how strong the strange power is. What did Yingshu think at first? Although he was going to lose, he had to consider the face of Zhu Ludi and build a good relationship for the future. But it shouldn't be too much for him to be a little more serious. The Akahime Choza in front of him is so big, and he is a Yangdun secret technique. He should be very strong, right? Well, let's go all out. The power of the 1,000 hands activated after that. The XXXL macho man shut himself up. At that time, Yingshu felt that he was deceived and said on the spot, "Senior, don't let me." In return, Akahime Choza looked at a monster. Akihime Choza was also confused. Could it be that, after doubling his energy level was not enough? Not really. Choza felt that with his current energy level, he could enter the butterfly mode. But this little monster. Forget it, I'm hungry. I'll have a quick meal to make up for myself first. So far, Inoshikacho was defeated. Team 7's record has added another brilliant chapter. When both parties said goodbye, Iki suggested that they have a chance to fight again. This was unanimously rejected by Inoshikacho. Nerishikaku, it's too troublesome. I still have a lot of things to do. Yamanaka Inoichi, I'm too busy. I still have a lot of prisoners to try. Akihime Choza, I'm hungry. Yingshu, don't give me face. Sure. Then wait until your son and daughter come out, and then you'll see how Uncle Ying educates the little ones. ZHU Ludi, hi. It's no big deal. Well, keep in touch. Just like that, Class 7 and ZHU Ludi developed a deep friendship. Noon, 12 o'clock. Yingshu counted the time and rushed home. Kyumi had already decided to live in his house, and Yingshu thought it wasn't too bad after all. After all, the room was empty anyway, and Kyumi had already arranged 3 meals a day for him. And the toilet and other things were also in charge of Kyumi. It was like having a free babysitter and cook. Yingshu planned that, when the time was right, he could ask for rent. He was very happy. To be honest, Yingshu was very happy that he defeated Inoshikacho with wisdom. Who said that we, the Senju clan, can only use Chitonra to bully others? Who said that we, the Uchiha clan, can only bully those who don't have red eye disease? With our combat IQ, haha. Have you heard of Inoshikacho? Defeated by subordinates. In fact, Yingshu also knew that, if it happened again, Team 7 might not win. Even if he entered the killing mode and smashed it with the Sharingan hydrogen release regardless of the cost, he was not sure if he could beat Inoshikacho. Of course, that is when the other party knows his ability and makes corresponding countermeasures. Otherwise, even if he relies on his super invincible self-destructing shadow clone technique, it is enough to make people drink a pot. Not to mention that he also has the advanced version of the Japanese escaped alien Den, the Japanese escaped pseudoblood inheritance super invincible spiral big set, hydrogen escape shuriken, invincible wind and fire wheels, thunder, and water cannonballs, and a series of combined ninjutsu to be developed. Warm reminder, in order to facilitate everyone's book selection, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. Well, Ike's first stage life goal has been figured out. Don't ask for Susanoo Butsu, just be an advanced version of the ninjutsu professor first. I can perform any ninjutsu, the key is that I have enough chakra. When Ike came home, his mouth was grinning. He was in a good mood. But when he opened the door for a moment, when he saw that there seemed to be a stranger in the room besides Kyumi, when he judged from the shape of her breasts, the stranger didn't seem so strange. You're here. Kyumi's voice was still sweet and moving, but it was a little stiff today. Ike's answer was as obedient as always. Fuck, Mr. Tsuna. Hello. Ike bowed, actually wanting to avoid Tsuna's sight. He was afraid that his eyes full of stories would be seen through by Tsuna. Why is she here? What does she want to do? She doesn't really want to teach me medical ninjutsu. I don't want it, you bastard. I want to go the confrontation route. Yingshu screamed madly in his heart. I really don't want to be an Annie. But at the same time, in Yingshu's heart, there seemed to be another little devil urging him. What's wrong with the nanny? Did the confrontation route force you to choose the nanny? Kill the enemy, or make the enemy invincible? Which one do you think you should choose? Go smell it. Go and see. The fragrance of the nanny will not let you down. Madara has already set his sights on Sachiko. Don't you think you are only one step away from getting the three-tailed beast for free? The Nana's halo? Think about it. That's the Yin seal. That's the inheritance of the wet bone forest. If you don't learn fairy arts, how can you master the Susanoo Buddha? Yingshu was almost crazy. An 8-year-old boy wanted to go the confrontation route. What was wrong with him? Otherwise, try to talk to the master, the first round. Lose and let the genius go? Yingshu's mind was full of random thoughts. After all, the one standing in front of him was his only clan member besides the old man. A young boy. She looked quietly at the little boy in front of her who wanted to stick his head into the floor. Her eyes were complicated, and her mind was flying. She had read the information and even Yingshu's room. Before coming here, she even visited her niece, Kushina. There is only one character difference between her name and Naruto's, but they are obviously two different types of children. This child, because of the decision to retire from senjuinari, he has been used to a hard life since he was a child, so he lives carefully. He knows how to save money, and he is very careful. In the small room, there are only a few 100,000 ryo, but he managed to hide more than 20 places, even hiding so many detonating talismans in the room. Oh, I have to talk to Kushina about it sometime, and she should not be too used to it. After all, detonating talismans. The light in Tsuna's eyes dimmed a little, but soon, it was full of light again. This is her cousin, her brother, one of the few relatives she has in this ninja world, in Konoha. She is not alone anymore. She will never allow herself to be alone again. Tsuna took a deep breath. At this time, Yingshu was a little tired of bending over and raised his head quietly. It happened to meet Tsunayosh's 3 gentle eyes, 3 self-blame eyes, 3 firm eyes, and 91 doting eyes. At this moment, Yingshu was stunned. Needless to say, Tsunayoshi must have known that he was the last male of the Senju clan. So what on earth is the old man doing? If he had known this, he would have just hugged his thigh. You, Yingshu. Tsunayoshi finally spoke. Ah, yes, Master Tsunayoshi. Yingshu answered after the CPU turned for 0.5 seconds. Tsuna hesitated for a moment and seemed a little dissatisfied with Yingshu's unfamiliarity, but soon, she asked again, Yingshu, what is your dream? Yingshu. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. Chapter 120, Team 7's new training. Obito returned home, changed his clothes, and was about to help his grandmother sweep the floor when he suddenly found a wretched man standing on the window. Obito knew this man, and he had beaten him before. Well, he almost beat him. Kakashi and Iki later told him that the wretched man was actually Jiraiya, one of the 3 ninjas. Obito was depressed for more than 10 hours. A guy like that could be one of the 3 ninjas? Haha. It seems that he, Master Obito, is destined to be a Hokage in this life. What are you doing? Obito activated his skill, Kakashi's dead fish eyes. Jiraiya also looked reluctant. Come with me. Obito, I don't. Why do you say that first? I'll teach you fire style and the seals with my feet. No, the clan leader will teach me. Obito declined and emphasized, I'm Uchiha. Why are you so stubborn? Jiraiya's temper came up at that time. Look carefully, I'm the Toad Sage of Miyaboki Mountain, the heroic Jiraiya-sama. Can you beat Lord Orochimaru? Obito was smart. No matter how strong the combination is, there will always be a laggard. For example, in their Team 7, Kakashi is the laggard. For example, the hairline of Inokawa is a few inverted triangles. Haha, every move was guessed by Iki. He is really stupid. In this way, it is normal for a fool and a pervert to appear in the Sannin. But Obito is not sure. What if the amiable Orochimaru is the one who hates fighting the most? Orochimaru? Jiraiya frowned. It will only take a few minutes to beat Orochimaru. I can beat 10 of them. Then, what about Uncle Tsukumo? Obito didn't believe it, but continued to ask. This. Then, what about our clan leader? He looks much younger than you. Obito asked, but he was actually ready to run away. If this guy dared to say that he could beat the clan leader, he would report it immediately, and he had already thought of the words, the clan leader is in trouble, someone wants to beat me, and he said he can beat 10 of you in a few minutes. Haha, all members of Team 7 are 6th, that's not a joke. This. Jiraiya thought for a long time, but he didn't come up with an answer. But he found that the expression of the hedgehog-headed kid in front of him was a little strange. Jiraiya suddenly realized that it seemed that they were setting a trap for him to jump into. But then again, this kid with a scar on his face is quite smart and looks a bit like him back then. Thinking of this, Jiraiya smiled slightly. Boy, don't think I don't know what you are thinking. I will give you 2 choices now. Jiraiya said, showing his big fist. Follow me, Practice and become stronger, or I will beat you until you are willing to follow me. Obito wanted to say on the spot, "You try to move me?" But he changed his mind. This guy is one of the 3 ninjas, and he is quite famous. He didn't look for Iki or Kakashi, but for himself. Could it be that he discovered the talent of Master Obito? What a good vision. So Obito also showed his fists and said very toughly, "I tell you, I'm not afraid of you. With your character, I will beat 10 of you sooner or later. The reason I'm fighting with you is because, hey, be gentle. What nonsense are you talking about? The bathhouse is about to open. I'll take you to the first lesson." What the hell? Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. On the other side, Kakashi also encountered a similar situation, but he was relatively harmonious. Standing in front of him was Orochimaru, but Orochimaru didn't open the window like Jiraiya did, but waited politely at the door of Kakashi's house. "Senior Orochimaru." Kakashi greeted politely. "Well, you've grown taller, Kakashi." Orochimaru responded with an elder's greeting. "I'm already more than 7 years old, Senior Orochimaru. You haven't been home for almost 2 days. Please come in." Kakashi hurriedly invited Orochimaru into the house. "It would be inappropriate to be at the door. Father is not at home now, but since you are here, he should be back soon." Kakashi was being self-righteous. He thought Orochimaru was here to look for his father, and with Orochimaru's identity, he probably knew that his father had left Konoha for a long time. "The reason for coming here is probably because my father-in-law has returned." In response, Orochimaru smiled and shook his head. "I actually came to see you, Kakashi." In the following period of time, Team 7 each started a new training. Kakashi followed Orochimaru, but did not learn anatomy, but perfected his own conjecture, the combination of lightning escape and swordsmanship. Chidori, I'm afraid she will appear earlier, but she may also look different. Obito was in the bathhouse, learning from Jiraiya. Ahem. This is a good thing, at least he won't hang himself on a tree anymore, right? As for Iki, he guessed correctly. Tsuneyoshi knew his identity, but Tsuneyoshi did not admit it, at least he didn't say it. It was just that he was forced to practice medical ninjutsu, and the process was very severe. At the least, he would be punished with a sutra, and at the worst, his head would pop. After the popping, he would raise his hand and cast a healing spell, and then he could continue to pop. He was truly the king of torture. That was fine. If you can't change, then accept it. Do what you love. Yingshu also knew this. But the key is, don't give me that death necklace. Yingshu was so panicked at the time, because that thing was cursed, and couldn't be subdued without the nine-tailed fox. So Yingshu made an excuse. This thing is too precious. I have to keep it well. Then he locked it in the cabinet, letting the god of death eat ashes. Days passed. Yingshu was also growing up day by day. In order to know that Tsunade knew half of his identity, Yingshu showed almost everything except the Sharingan, especially the chakra manipulation. Compared with Tsunade, he knew what it meant that there are always people who are better than you. His talent is indeed good, but in front of the #1 medical ninja in the ninja world, it is still a little bit lacking. Yingshu was not discouraged. How old is he? How far has he come? So he worked hard to study, and his effort was comparable to the eve of the college entrance examination. And Tsunade finally discovered what a genius is. He can understand various theories as soon as he hears them, and he can get started within an hour and master them within 3 days. Do you call this 8 years old? After seeing Yingshu's talent, Tsunade quietly made a decision. When this child masters the forbidden technique that belongs only to her, she must find the old man and let Yingshu learn those forbidden techniques. The reason why forbidden techniques are forbidden techniques is that in addition to being powerful, they will also cause certain harm to the caster himself. But after finding her relatives again, Tsunade is obviously more relaxed in this regard. It's okay, this kid cherishes his life very much. Even when he sleeps, there are shadow clones to help keep watch. Just learn hard. It's always good to have more skills. That was all invented by our second grandfather, from our Senju family. In this way, Yingshu grows up day by day, improves day by day, grows taller day by day, and gets closer and closer to his goal day by day. And time, tick-tock, just passed by. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book by searching the title, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Chapter 121, John in Mission. 399 days later. In the morning, 9:30. 10-year-old, 177 centimeters Iki, walking on the street, with long straight black hair, thick eyebrows and big eyes. Many sisters and aunts drooled at the sight of him. Iki's appearance is not the kind of cool and handsome, nor is it the type that looks ordinary at first glance, but becomes more attractive the more you look at him. Handsome, for sure, but after all, he is 10 years old, and has not fully grown up yet, and his face is a bit childish. If you have to describe it, he is a child of the president and the movie queen next door. He has both temperament and good looks. Iki is walking towards the Uchiha clan's territory, to meet up with Obito. He hasn't seen Obito and Kakashi for more than half a year. The three ninjas have different educational methods. Jiraiya took Obito around everywhere, while Orochimaru focused on military exploits and actual combat, and often took Kakashi to the battlefield. As for Tsuna, he had been teaching in Konoha, but now Tsuna no longer cares about him. Well, ever since his small, black triangle appeared on Iki's forehead 2 months ago, Tsuna seemed to have changed overnight, and he was happy to go to the casino and Iki's house again. But it is worth mentioning that Kumi has learned a lot in the past year, and her medical ninjutsu has also improved a lot. Now, she is Tsuna's secretary. This position will be replaced by Shizune after he graduates from the ninja school. Iki walked and walked. Finally, he arrived at the gate of the Uchiha clan. This gate is very exquisite, and it is the same style as the gate of Konoha village. It has no guards, and the size is a bit smaller. The emblem on it is not Konoha but Uchiha. And the original gate, which is the step, seems to be taller than the gate of Konoha. Obito, who is wearing a loose samurai uniform, wooden clogs, and has long hair, is waiting in front of the gate. Hey, Iki boy, long time no see. Damn. What did you eat? How come you are so tall? Obito, who is 159 centimeter tall in wooden clogs, is surprised. You. Iki looked at the refreshed Obito, and was struck by lightning. This image, isn't it just the 1.0 mask version of Obito in the original time and space, after he turned evil? Question mark? It's just that the mask is missing, and there is only a scar left on the face, which makes it look a bit wretched. Iki was shocked. If it goes on like this, could it be that? Well, if Madara really gets Obito, he will be the one who has a headache. Let's go to the Hokage building. There is a mission. Iki said after recovering his mood. Obito looked around, but didn't find the white-haired guy. Where's Kakashi? He followed Orochimaru to the front line of the Mist Hideki to find Uncle Tsukumo. Iki spread his hands and said, after all, this mission may be just the two of us. TSK. Obito spat. He got it easy. Damn. I don't know how many secret techniques this guy learned to arrange Kakashi. The two teamed up and walked forward. Along the way, Obito's wooden clogs made a clattering sound, which made Iki feel a little overwhelmed. However, this is also a good thing. Speaking of prophecy, Obito is no exception. He forced the tailed beast to behave himself. Dang dang, Sandame-sama, I'm Iki. I brought Obito here. Huh. Come in. Iki and Obito walked into the Hokage's office, and found that the Sandame had just hidden the crystal ball. I don't know who he was peeking at. Wow, you're so tall, little Iki, and little Obito. Warm reminder, to make it easier for everyone to choose books, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. When Sarutobi Hiruzen saw Obito, his expression was exactly the same as Iki's at first sight. This is the second Jiraiya. That bastard. Sarutobi Hiruzen's hands were shaking with anger, but his face remained expressionless. You all look energetic, so I feel relieved. As he said that, Sarutobi Hiruzen took out a scroll. Iki recognized the extraordinariness of this scroll from the familiar style. Back then, Orochimaru generously donated jutsu, and the third generation gave out red envelopes, and all the gifts were scrolls of this style. Giving out red envelopes again. Iki felt neither sad nor happy and had no expectations at all. Conventional ninjutsu was no use to him. There was no difference. Chakra was now like his girlfriend's big European pie to Iki. Is it difficult to knead it into the shape you want? Oh, he doesn't have a girlfriend. What a bother. I know this decision may be a little early for you, Sarutobi Hirozen said with a smile, but I see the talents of the three of you. I can't just protect you and stop you from flying higher just because of your age. Yingshu took the scroll and opened it. It was not a ninjutsu, but a mission, an assessment mission without a specific reward. Kids, after completing this assessment mission, you will be Konoha's Jonin. It was a long-term mission. It was long in distance, almost across half of the ninja world. They needed to go to the front of Kirigakure first, find Kakashi, and then cross the battlefield to the front of Iwagakure to find Minato. After that, they have to complete the mission that almost ruined Hatake Tsukumo's reputation and brought shame to White Fang. Destroy the Komubi Bridge. Iki looked at the content of the mission and couldn't help but sigh that Sarutobi Hirozen gave a big red envelope. The mission period may be a bit long. It is not difficult to get to the Kirishikakure front, and it is not a big problem to blow up the bridge under the leadership of Minato. It started in the air, and 2 years later, Minato blew it up himself. But the most dangerous thing is to cross the battlefield to the Iwagakure front and find Minato. After reading it, Iki threw it to Obito. Obito took a quick glance and the whole person was excited in an instant. Jonin? If I blow up a bridge, I can become a Jonin? Yingshu on the side was speechless. Compared to blowing up a bridge and interrupting the battlefield, what he cares about most is actually the old otaku who has not yet appeared. The trajectory of time and space has changed because of him. What will happen this time? With the mission scroll, Yingshu went home first. Atsuna is not in the casino at this time because Kumi is a good cook, so now is tea time. Kushina would come over occasionally, and Yingshu also learned a little bit of sealing technique because of this. After all, a yin seal is also a seal. I'm here. Yingshu greeted and took off his shoes. You're here, huh? Kumi noticed that Yingshu's expression was not right. What's wrong? No, I received a task for the Jonin assessment and I have to leave the village. I'm afraid I won't be able to come in the short term. Yingshu answered Kumi, but his eyes glanced at Tsuneuki. In the past year or so, Tsuneuki has been living in his house, and he collected 500,000 ryo from him for tuition some time ago. 500,000 ryo is not a lot for Tsuneuki, it's just a small change from her losses every time. But for Yingshu, that's all his hard-earned money. If it weren't for the occasional shadow clone plus transformation technique plus disguise, sneaking with Tsuneuki to the casino, and betting with Tsuneuki, Yingshu would not be happy this year. Indeed, it's time for you to become a Jonin, Tsunade said calmly. He's already about to become a Jonin. Then those things are also about to be handed over to him, right? Warm reminder, to make it easier for everyone to choose books, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. Chapter 122 Obito 2.0 Jiraiya. Iki quickly packed his things. Actually, there wasn't much, just a big scroll, and all the supplies and ninja tools were inside. There were probably more than 5,000 detonating tags and other ninja tools, as well as some dry food and other things. Iki also had a stack of large denominations of 10,000 teals in his pocket, which he won from the casino. Iki loves money and wants to make it in a proper way. Otherwise, with Tsuneuki as his guide, the casino will go bankrupt first. After getting ready, Iki set off. Tsuneuki and Kumi watched Iki's back as he left from the second floor. Time flies. Master Tsuna, you don't know that when we first met, he was still a little kid. He's still a little kid now, Tsuna said lightly, but his eyes were somewhat complicated. Sister Kyanli was worried. Although she was always relieved about Iki's caution, when she saw that Iki was about to leave Konoha, Tsuna still felt a little panic in her heart. Suddenly, Tsuna thought of something and rushed to Iki's room. First, he took out the key and opened Iki's door. Then he came to the only table in Iki's room, took out the key again, and opened the drawer. Oh no. Tsuna looked at the necklace lying in the drawer and was shocked. This kid forgot to bring his amulet. 11 o'clock in the morning. Iki, wearing the death necklace, finally waited for Obito at the gate of Konoha. And Obito's equipment surprised him again. He was still wearing the loose samurai uniform, but he put on his favorite Konoha vest on the outside. Behind him, there was also a big scroll, and it was the same style as Jiraiya. This guy, could he be the second Jiraiya? Iki murmured in his heart. But if that's the case, it's too late. Obito, but 1.0 Naruto. If he had the relationship with Minato, maybe Obito could even get to Mayaboku Mountain. I just don't know what Kakashi has become. I hope he doesn't grow up crooked. The two set out immediately. Yingshu chose a safer route, the Konoha wounded retreat route. The seriously injured ninjas on the front line had to be sent to Konoha urgently because of a shortage of medical ninjas or other reasons that could not be treated. This route was also the route for Konoha to transport supplies to the front line, so it was safe. The two shuttled through the woods, moving very quickly. To be honest, the road was very smooth and the two ran from day to night without seeing a single person. Yingshu picked up some branches, took out some dry food, and prepared to have a meal. Sizzle, the flames burned on the branches, jumping up and down. Yingshu looked at the dry food in his hand and recalled the days when he used to eat grilled fish. By the way, what have you learned from Jiraiya in the past year? Iki suddenly asked. You can't just learn how to peek in the bathhouse, right? How is that possible? Obito was furious. That's my bottom line. You know the bottom line. Iki, you have to believe me. You must believe me. I believe it. I believe it. Iki perfunctorily replied, then pointed at Obito's long spiky hair and said, I saw your hairstyle and thought you were imitating Jiraiya. Obito was stunned. You're talking about this? Hey. What is this? What? Why is it foggy? Obito was about to explain the action of his hair, but suddenly found that the surroundings were gradually becoming foggy. Then, he felt his head being pressed down. Wind style, level 8 great gale. Whoosh, Iki pressed Obito and sprayed him wildly, and the strong wind blew up, and he blew away the thick fog. The prototype of Iki's technique is a relatively basic wind style ninjutsu. Wind style, great breakthrough. The seal was reduced by half, and it can be done with 2 fingers on one hand. Then the power of this ninjutsu was increased 8 times, and the level 8 great gale came from this. Warm reminder, in order to facilitate everyone's book selection, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. The level of ninjutsu, the cloud and the fog, is nothing more than 2 cores. One is the amount of chakra that can be introduced that determines the power, and the other is the nature of chakra and form change that determines the form of the ninjutsu. As the second generation ninjutsu professor, it is normal for Iki to use the simplest technique with the most powerful force. When the surroundings returned to normal, Iki carefully observed the surroundings. If something was abnormal, there must be something wrong. This was probably the mist ninja nearby, but he didn't see a single person. Iki frowned. This kind of enemy annoyed him the most. It's not that thieves steal, but that they are eyeing you. We are being targeted. Iki let go of Obito. Obito looked resentful. Iju, you're stronger again, he said. Iju raised his eyebrows. We can't stay here any longer. Let's go to Kakashi. Iju was also puzzled. They had just left Konoha's territory, so why did someone target them? Is Kirin so arrogant? But as soon as he finished speaking, the fog rose again around them. At the same time, there was a whoosh sound of breaking through the air, and the enemy actually launched an attack. Iju and Obito moved at the first moment. Obito charged in the direction of the sound of breaking air, but his route was still the same as before. He went straight into the ground, earth style, soil diving technique. Obito was ready to give the attacker a surprise, but Iki's surprise had already arrived. Obito escaping underground. Iki wanted to spit out another level 8 gale, but after thinking about it, he decided to let out his Sharingan to breathe. Opening the eyes seldom is like walking in a gorgeous robe at night. The two Magatama lit up, and the chakra on his hands also flashed. Iki took a horse stance, and the sword and kunai in his hand whizzed over. His eyes kept locking onto the direction. His hands turned into after images, and he caught it hard. Oh, such a trifle. After secretly enjoying himself, Iki turned off his Sharingan. On Obito's side, the battle had already begun. Ping, no way. That's all the strength you have. Ping ping, come on. My grandma is more flexible than you. Ping ping ping. I'm not going to play with you anymore, you losers. Ninjutsu, lion's hair ruffling technique. Iki. He rushed to Obito's position, and just as he moved, the fog around him dissipated. Obito had already won, and all the enemies around him were tied up tightly by his extended hair. Iki was stunned for 3 full seconds. It seems that your beautiful hair is for this purpose. Iki was surprised. Jiraiya actually taught this trick to Obito? This is his signature ninjutsu. I have to say that Obito has made great progress. It was a 3-person Mr. Iki team, and now they have been wrapped up like a dumpling. Obito turned his head to look at Iki and showed a smug smile. Is it okay? Yeah, awesome. Iki raised his thumb to praise. In the future, Jiraiya taught ninjutsu to Naruto, and Naruto evolved into the prophecy boy. Now, Obito has learned the lion's messy hair from Jiraiya, and he has become the second Jiraiya. So, Trimble, Madara. Nowadays, you can't manipulate the soil at will. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title, you can try searching the author. Maybe the name has just changed. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123. I'm an Uchiha, so what? Yingshu interrogated them. Doctors interrogate people and often hit the pain points directly. But Yingshu just tried it a little bit, and before he could find out anything, the 3 of them suddenly foamed at the mouth and convulsed all over. They took poison and died. Yingshu swore that he really didn't use any force. It was completely a voluntary behavior of the 3. Ordinary ninjas can either die rather than surrender, or surrender half dead, such as Ono Masayoshi. But it was the first time he saw someone who took poison directly after the mission failed. After all, in the ninja world, as long as the brain can be preserved after death, the interrogation can still be carried out. This made Yingshu realize that something was wrong. He first took off the ninja tool bags of the 3 people, and then gave them to the shadow clone to open them to prevent any special mechanisms from being found inside. Then he opened the large scroll behind him, spread it out, found the forbidden box for corpses, and collected the corpses with hand seals. It doesn't matter whether the information is reported or not. The important thing is that if these corpses are sent to the front line, if they can be interrogated to get some information, it will be money. This is a long-term mission for Team 7. Although there is no markup on the reward, it must be settled in the end. Sarutobi Hirozen can't expect to pay less. After 3 minutes of busy work, after paying the price of 2 shadow clones, Iki and Obito did not rest and chose to set off again. These guys. TSK, they are quite cruel. Obito exclaimed on the way. Iki glanced at Obito. The current Obito is no longer the idiot who was beaten into a pig head and still worried about the injuries on the other side. The environment will change people. Unlike the 2.0 version of Naruto, Obito has killed people and seen blood. Although he looks a little silly, he still knows what he is doing. Maybe there is a more important casualty on the front line, or a prisoner. This group of people obviously came to silence people, and they were on the rescue channel of Konoha. It is not reasonable to intercept supplies. Iki speculated that an important person in Konoha must have been seriously injured. Could it be Kakashi? Obito was a little worried. That guy's not smart. Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up. You will know when you get there. Iki interrupted Obito's casting. The 2 walked quickly, and their mood was a little heavy. Especially Iki. At this point in time, he only knew one thing about the hidden mist. When the 8 gates of mighty were opened, the 7 ninja swordsmen became the 3 ninja swordsmen. But K just graduated not long ago. He should not be able to go to the front line to perform tasks. The important figures who are still on the front line now. White Fang is one. Orochimaru is. I guess this guy has to protect the final dignity of Boruto. Just like this, the 2 moved forward quickly. It was before dawn, around 3 in the morning, when they finally saw a ray of light in the darkness. The 2 hurried their pace and walked thousands of steps, and then they saw the light. It was the frontier camp of Konoha stationed at the border of the Land of Fire. The geographical location is in the middle of the line connecting the land of iron and the land of hot spring with the border of the land of fire. The camp is stationed at a certain distance from the sea, hidden in a lush forest. The camp is composed of simple tents, surrounded by wooden walls. There are Konoha ninjas patrolling on the wall, and there are people standing guard even in the rear. Iki and Obito did not hide their whereabouts, and a team of Konoha ninjas soon appeared in front of them. They were wearing green vests and Konoha helmets, but it was not difficult to tell from their pale pupils that they were all members of the Hibiki clan. "Who are you?" The Hibiki ninja spoke in a harsh tone, and after using his white eyes to scan the two men's appearance and see that they were not disguised, he slightly restrained his guard. "We are here to take the Jonin exam, senior." Iki told the truth, and then he took out a scroll from his arms and threw it over. Warm reminder, the functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and read background color in the upper right corner of the page are exactly the exam scroll that Hibiki Sarutobi gave him, with Hibiki Sarutobi's chakra signature on it, which is also the most powerful evidence to prove the identity of Team 7. Jonin exam, A. Team 7, teammate of Lord White Fang's son. The procedure was fine, and Iki's penis grew by more than 30 centimeters, which seemed fine at first glance. But the three keywords Team 7 gave the Hayashi ninja a fright. Isn't it the Genius Junior Team 7? So, which one of you two is from Uchiha? The Hayashi paused and asked. Obito, who was standing behind Iki, showed his Sharingan on the spot. "It's me." "So what?" Iki said silently in his heart. "I'm half one too." But he still blocked Obito. Uchiha and Hayashi seem to have no conflicts, but the conflicts are deep. In the past at the ninja school, the Hayashi classmates never talked to the Uchiha. Because he was close to Obito, Iki was bullied by the class representative of the Hibiscus clan. Obito, this silly boy, has been learning from the Uchiha clan leader since he was a child. Under the influence of his appearance, even if he is a thick-skinned person, he has been somewhat influenced by him. He is quite aggressive. Heh. The Hibiscus sneered and said nothing, but it seemed that he had said everything. Iki had a blank expression. For him, the Hibiscus clan has no intersection. He is here to do things. He quickly called Kakashi, and Team 7 went to the Iwagakure and Kumogakure battlefields to perform missions. So it is better not to cause unnecessary disputes. Of course, if this Hibiscus really causes trouble, he, the Thousand Uchiha Hand, or the low-profile version of Otsutsuki Iki, is not someone who can be bullied easily. There was a short stalemate between the two sides. But just when Yingshu was thinking about how to avoid looking at other people's faces and inform Kakashi at the same time, there was a commotion from the main camp, which attracted the attention of both sides. Medical ninja. Medical ninja. Hurry. There are two seriously injured ninjas here. They can't be stopped. We need support in front. Kiritake has launched another surprise attack, and Lord White Fang and Lord Orochimaru are resisting. We need support in front. The main camp, which was already busy, suddenly became commotion again. The three Hibiscus immediately ran forward, and one of the Hibiscus in front of them did not forget to tell them, "Don't run around." Yingshu and Obito looked at each other and rushed directly to the Konoha main camp. The speed was so fast that they left the three Hibiscus behind. No matter how the three Hibiscus shouted, the two of them didn't even turn their heads. When Yingshu rushed into the camp, he saw a bloody ninja who had just been carried to a stretcher. "Support, help, we need support." It wasn't Kakashi, but it was the signal that activated Yingshu's nanny halo. "Please wait a moment." Yingshu called out to the two ninjas who were carrying the injured to the tent, and instantly appeared in front of the injured. In 0.753541 seconds, he roughly judged the severity of the injury. It was very serious, and the countdown to his life was already underway. Yingshu thought of a countermeasure in his mind in 0.00001 seconds. "I'm a medical ninja, let me do it." He put his hands on the injured person, and the next moment, green chakra suddenly bloomed. Ninja art, Yang release enhanced palm immortal technique. Hold on. Support has arrived. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. Chapter 124 Kakashi's Traces. Why is Tsuneuki the #1 medical ninja in the ninja world? Iki has followed Tsuneuki for 339 days and has learned a lot. Delicate medical ninjutsu, cell level chakra manipulation and repair, and a huge amount of chakra. Yes, the amount of chakra is also the most important part. What is the principle of medical ninjutsu? Use vitality to stimulate vitality. Use yang escape to create vitality. Iki has delicate chakra manipulation, but he is not as good as Tsuneuki, but he only lacks the distance to show the Sharingan. Iki also has a huge amount of chakra, but he is not as good as Tsuneuki, but that is a problem of age. Iki dares to say so. He can barely do what Tsuneuki can do. What Tsuna couldn't do, he let it go. He couldn't be the number 1 medical ninja in the ninja world, but within the number 10, Yingshu was still confident. Fuck one and love the other. That's what he was talking about. At this moment, Yingshu's black hair moved automatically without wind. The dying Konoha ninja, the shocking wound on the abdomen, was actually healing gradually in front of the naked eye. Yingshu's medical ninjutsu was nothing special, but large quantity, full of food. It seemed that Yingshu could see the life countdown above the head of the person in front of him stopped. Disappeared. Another day of bullying the god of death. An inexplicable sense of accomplishment arose in Ika's heart, but he knew that this so-called sense of accomplishment could not be used to make a living. So while Iki was treating, he also took the time to look at Obito. Obito was looking at Iki in shock at this moment. It's been a year since we last met. You have become such a great medical ninja. At this moment, an idea suddenly popped up in Obito's mind. Iki, isn't it because of this scar on his face that... Gradually, Obito's eyes became a little moist. He was so moved that he cried. What are you doing standing there? Go find Kakashi. Iki roared and then retracted his gaze. He had to concentrate now. Ah. Ouch. Obito sniffed his nose, turned around and ran away without saying a word. Damn it, you guy. Why do you always do such tear-jerking things? Obito went to find Kakashi. Iki's treatment was also declared over after 10 minutes. It's stable for now. Next one. Iki waved his hand, and it's true that he has the flavor of master. The tyrant medical ninja. Iki has figured it out. When he becomes a jonin, he will complete a few missions with higher rewards to earn some money, and then wait until the third ninja world war is over, and then he can retire early. Well, working at Konoha Hospital is safe and the salary is high. He can also communicate with the nurses in a friendly manner on weekdays, which is great. The most important thing is that after the war, the profession of doctor will not be so busy. He will have enough time to study his own subject. Obito looked for Kakashi for several times, but he couldn't find him. No one told him when he asked. After all, there were mostly Hyuga people here, and many people really didn't know. In the end, Obito got the whereabouts of Kakashi from the mouth of a lightly injured person who came back from the front line and was rescued by Iki. On the battlefield, on the front line, he teamed up with other ninjas temporarily and carried out a reconnaissance mission. Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. But he must have been in danger, because the direction that Kakashi was investigating was the location of the Kirin's attack. And when Obito was in a hurry to find Iki, the number of injured people rescued by Iki was already in double digits. Kirin's attack seemed very fierce. None of the first batch of injured people sent back were lightly injured. Either they were seriously injured, or they lost their arms and legs. In short, it was a terrible word. But Iki, on the contrary, teased the god of death more than 10 times. Kid, take a break quickly. Leave the rest to us. If you keep going like this, you will be the first to collapse. Listen to your uncle's advice. Take care of your health. If you collapse, you will only lose more than you gain. You are worthy of being the close disciple of Master Tsunade. Master Tsunade will definitely be very pleased that you can do this. Then I will take a break first. Yingshu, who still had most of his chakra left, said weakly. Indeed, there are still many seriously injured people, but Yingshu is not a saint. He can save so many people, so it is not in vain that Tsunade taught him. Moreover, the role of a medical ninja is not to stay in the rear all the time. When Tsunade was young, didn't the Sannin lead the way? Without the Second Ninja World War, the three ninjas of Rain Country fighting against the demigods, how could there be the three ninjas at this moment? The weak Iki, with the help of Obito, walked out of the medical area under the respectful gaze of everyone. He even got his own tent. After entering the tent, Iki first gulped down a big mouthful of water. Not to mention, it was a bit tiring. So, what did you find out? Iki asked. Seeing Iki recover so quickly, Obito was stunned at first, but soon his expression became serious. Kakashi may be in danger, Iki. Obito told Iki everything he knew. Soon, Iki's expression also became serious. Do you know the approximate time Kakashi set out? Iki suddenly asked. Probably the day before yesterday, probably around the same time as we set out. What's the matter, Iki? Nothing. Iki took a deep breath. This situation is not that simple. He doesn't believe that there are such coincidences in the world. They just happened to set out, and Kakashi, who was on a mission, happened to be in danger. Kirin really knows how to pick the time. It may be a bit self-righteous to say this, but Iki really thinks that this time the so-called attack of Kirin is aimed at Team 7. A certain old otaku. I'm afraid he finally couldn't help it. Iki glanced at Obito. Hey, let's support Kakashi. We can't let this guy bring shame to our Team 7. At the same time, a dozen mist hidden ninjas appeared one after another beside a small river. Haven't you found any trace of that kid? Damn it. We must not let him get away. Scatter, find him before dark. Yes. A dozen mist hidden disappeared one after another and began to search. What they didn't know was, at the place where they just met, among the countless stones by the river, one of them was their target. Konoha, White Fang Shinobi, take Kakashi. Poof, Kakashi cancelled his transformation, his eyes full of fatigue. So far, he has been hunted for a whole day. Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. Chapter 125, Obito, the ninja. After making sure that the person had gone far away, Kakashi checked his injuries. His left calf was stabbed by a shuriken, which slightly affected his movements. His left arm was scratched by a sharp blade, which had no problem with his movements, but he was afraid that he would not be able to use the Thunder Fang series of techniques. The most fatal one was the knife wound on his back, which caused him to feel excruciating pain with the slightest movement, which seriously affected his movements. Kakashi felt a little dizzy now, and he felt that the wound on his back was probably inflamed. If only that guy Iki was here. Kakashi sighed. He looked into the distance, and along this river, he would be able to reach the Konoha camp in a short time. This is also his last training mission. After finishing this one. Anyway, it's time for him to go to Konoha. I just don't know how you two are doing. Kakashi took a deep breath, and stepped forward with his injury. He has to go there alive. Otherwise, wouldn't it be in vain that he has been involved in this for more than a year? Otherwise, God knows what those two guys will do. He doesn't want Obito, the last one to be left behind, to have his old man sent off by his black-haired son. Iki, don't we follow them? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the forest, Iki and Obito's figures are like the wind. They broke away from the large force supporting the front line and moved alone. This undoubtedly increased the risk factor. They are all going to support Uncle Tsukumo, and Uncle Tsukumo must be going to find Kakashi. If I were the enemy, I would definitely try to stop Uncle Tsukumo, and send a small group of elite soldiers to hunt down Kakashi. Do you understand, Sachiko? This. I listen to you, Iki. Iki expressed his thoughts. What he didn't say is, Madara won't guide them, if they don't leave the main force. Yes. No matter how well Madara can plan, he is not controlling Kirin to mess around now. Iki thinks that Madara can only guide and control a part of the power that can complete the plan and work in secret, such as Kakashi, who is alone this time. For example, the 7 ninja swordsmen are definitely not under Madara's control, so they have 2 enemies now. Suspected to launch a general attack, but actually he was planning to catch Kakashi and restrain the Kirigumi who was holding the White Fang. suspected to control the overall situation and guide the two sides to a decisive battle, but actually he wanted to catch the big fish Obito through Kakashi, and then trick Obito into doing the 18-year pyramid scheme of Madara. Yes, after all this time, the protagonist is not actually Kakashi. It has always been Obito. Iki doesn't know where Kakashi is, but Madara knows, and White Zetsu knows. Iki's move is actually equivalent to a gamble. It's not a gamble on whether Madara is behind it, but a gamble on Madara's assessment of the strength of their Team 7. Iki is very confident. As long as the 7 ninja swordsmen are not called over, he will teach Madara what the hell is called Senro Wanxiang in a minute. Want to beat Benjutsu Professor Plus? Sure. Die on the spot, and then be reborn in the dirt. Only then will I, Otsutsuki Hideki, be willing to call you the 6th strongest man in the ninja world. Hideki and Obito moved forward quickly, but suddenly, when they passed an innocent tree, the sharp-eyed Hideki saw something familiar. From the corner that was exposed, judging from the burning forbidden technique, it should be a detonating talisman of about 2200 teals. The power is not small, but it is also limited. A trivial trick. Hideki snorted coldly, and his forward posture did not change, but he turned his head while leaping forward, and at the same time, raised his 2 fingers, and the chakra in his mouth was ready. Iki also has an idea, to make a fortune, by selling hydrogen escape detonating talismans. The current progress is quite good, and it can be considered a small achievement. In short, it is easy to hold a detonating talisman. Iki is not bragging when he opens his Sharingan. Even if the detonating talisman is about to explode, he can still suppress it. After the titles of Professor Plus in the ninja world and Medical Ninja within the No 10 in the ninja world, Iki once again got a new title, Ninja World No 1 Bomb Disposal Expert. What's wrong, Iki? Iki moved too quickly, and Obito was confused and didn't know what happened. Iki also curled the corners of his mouth slightly and shook his head. Nothing. It was indeed nothing, just a detonating tag, not worth mentioning. The key. The guide is about to show up. Go. Several mist-hiding ninjas who were ambushing in the forest suddenly appeared. They were well trained and coordinated, and they could compete with the Team 7 2 days ago. Without the mist-hiding technique to block their vision, the enemy on one side used the Ken to suppress them, while the enemy on the other side directly chose to show their long swords and charge. Are we being underestimated? It's Sachiko? Iki pulled out the long sword tied to the reel behind him. This was something he got from the Konoha camp, under the pretext of self-defense. The ninja uncle in charge of the allocation of ninja tools was very generous, and gave Iki a stack of detonating tags and a ninja tool pack containing a Terrakan plus Kunai. This is a quota that a team can receive. If Iki wasn't handsome and hadn't saved the uncle's son, I'm afraid the difference wouldn't be that big. Iki held his long sword and rushed towards the mist-hidden ninja who was ready for hand-to-hand combat. But Obito was not idle either. He opened his Sharingan and jumped high and immediately began to make seals with both hands. At the same time, the toes on his feet were also making seals. A mere trifle. Obito imitated the tone of Iki just now, and his long hair spread out quickly, wrapping himself up with thorns. Ninjutsu Needle Jizo. Really hedgehog head. Not only did Obito block all those shurikens, but it was not Obito's nature to be on the defensive all the time. Needle Jizo is strictly speaking a physical technique, a branch of yang release. The key is that Obito still made a seal with his feet. Obito's killer move was the fire release that he had prepared with both hands long ago. Fire release Great Fire Bullet. An umbrella-shaped wave of fire spurted out of Obito's mouth with a very large range and was towards several mist hiders. Jiraiya is indeed a qualified teacher. He taught the trio of the Shodai Makatsuki organization, as well as the future pain and the explosive talisman Archangel. He taught Minato Namikaze, the future 4th Hokage, and now he is a shining star. Maybe in the future, he can also teach the child of prophecy who will save the ninja world. In a strange twist of fate, the future number 3 boss in the ninja world also became Jiraiya's disciple. Obito. Maybe his software is not as good as Minato's, and his talent may be a little worse. Obito. Maybe his hardware is not as good as Nagato, and his eyesight is also a little worse. Obito. Maybe his VIP level is not as good as Naruto, and his plugin is a little worse. There is no doubt about it. He is the disciple who is most like Jiraiya. There are two versions of fire style, Enden. One is the pure fire style chakra version, which is the Sarutobi Hiruzen version. The other is the special Myabakuzen toad oil version, which is exclusive to Jiraiya. At this moment, Obito is using the Myabakuzen exclusive version. Great Fireball plus toad oil. The curse that the Great Fireball cannot burn people to death was broken by him personally. Now, here comes the Myabakuzen Toad Sage plus Gojo 2.0 version, Obito the Ninja. Here, warm reminder, the problem of logged-in users saving bookshelves across devices has been corrected. If it still cannot be saved, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the browser cookies, and then log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.